Hello. We are live on Monday night with me, Greg, Alan,
Gotcha.
and our guest, Una from the CodeX Cantina.
And I'm in Las Vegas, so I guess technically this makes it your first Vegas show. You have your own Vegas show now.
We do have a Vegas show.
So there you go. You're celebrating daylight savings with your own show. Here we go.
I thought Vegas didn't, I thought they didn't do daylight savings.
They don't. Well, I was just talking about that with Alan because we're on the rare time that we're in the same time zone for once. Because normally I'm all the way out in the East Coast, so we're kind of missing each other. Ships passing in the wind in the dark, if you will.
And Bad is Rad is in the comment section. Hello. That's 1 minute to win. Showtime. You were early. I'm going to be annoying until the pop-up out there. All right.
Yeah. I like a lot of the guests that you have on. You kind of learn a lot of different booktubers. I'd never heard of Bad as Rad before, too. And I think you mentioned in one of your videos, I think it was, you were talking about the video editing. Greg, you were talking about video editing. And you mentioned the channel, and I went over there, and there was like a poetry reading with like a close-up on the lips and like an overlay and stuff. And it was really, really cool.
Yeah. She's very good at editing.
Yeah. Well, what spawned that? Like, what made you say, let's talk about the process of video editing out of curiosity?
It's probably because I recently bought a video editor for my laptop.
Which one did you get?
Just before, I said, I'm just going to record it, upload it, and that's that.
Yep.
And I was trying to do book covers on my iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do it. It's in the iMovie app.
Yeah.
But on your phone, they have a memory limit. And so what happens is I got to the point where I did my video editing. I put like 5 covers in.
Yeah.
Said, you don't have enough memory to save this video.
Oh, okay. So that's how they got you.
So eventually, well, they didn't get me because I just moved over to a Windows editor. So,
which one did you say you moved to?
I moved to my editor on my Windows. It's Movie, something like that.
Okay, I don't really know that one.
It became recommended by someone in one of the Discord groups.
Okay,
it's pretty easy. It's a lot like iMovie where you have the tracks, but I'm guessing all movie editors are going to be very similar down below.
It could be. I know a couple of movie editing softwares really well, and then the rest I really don't know at all.
Yeah, your editing is superb, Una. I like your editing a lot.
Well, I appreciate it.
You spend a lot of time on that.
Well, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I used to own a video business, so I would plan, market, create, pre-plan, production, edit, motion graphics, the whole thing in the video world. So part of why it was so easy to jump into BookTube was kind of like what Greg's describing. There was no hurdle for me when it came to what product do I use to film, how do I edit it. I knew how to do all that. It was just what should I spend on, and that's how the beginning of our channel happened. Was we were just doing like a book chat with people, and they're like,
I remember when Brian at Bookish told me, "Hey, Al, you got to go check out these guys. These 2 guys are talking all about Faulkner." And I went over there and go, "Wow!" And I remember when you had like 300 subscribers, because it used to be you had to have 500 to get monetized. So 500 was the goal, and everybody was going, "Yeah, I'll never get 500."
Yeah.
Now you got like 24,000.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because everybody talks about, it's a goal to get to monetization, which is fine. Like it shows progress. Like some people feel reward from that, and that's totally cool. Almost everyone hits, what is it? They hit the subscribers, but they don't hit the watch time. So it's like they get to like 1,400, 1,500 subscribers before they get the, what is it, like 4,000 hours?
4,000 hours.
4,000 hours. We were the opposite. So we hit 4,000 hours and had like 600 subscribers. And I told Crypto, I said, well, people watch us, but they don't want to come back for more. I don't know what to do.
Me too.
Elvis had that same issue.
Did he?
He had the watch time before he had the subscribers.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
And what's curious with me is I thought I was not eligible for monetization for a long time because I have my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads, and every now and then I click on the monetization, says you're not eligible. You're not eligible. And I thought, oh, I'm not eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally looked at my watch time and go, wait a second, it says here 5,000 hours.
You had to go sign up.
No. First, I thought I was not registered as an adult. But then I looked at because I was going to go to my regular channel under my real name.
Yeah.
And under my regular channel, which has no subscribers and no watch time, I'm eligible for monetization.
Maybe you got grandfathered in or something.
No, because my channel is a brand name. I have my Google account, which has my regular channel.
Yeah.
Which is under my legal name, which I don't use to record videos. But that's how I pay for things. That's how I subscribe to YouTube Prime and YouTube TV and all that stuff. So my little video on books is a subset of that channel. So all that watch time just, I think, flows up into it.
Really? That's advanced. I don't even know how you set that up. I just know because like I know with Google they used to have like the Google, what do they call it, corporate or whatever, where you could own the domain, and it used to be free, and like a lot of small businesses would own a certain Gmail domain or whatever, and then now they make you start paying for a lot of that. You have to pay like $5 a month, a year, I don't know, something like that. But they're switching it around. They got to make their monies, I guess.
It is. I mean, I don't know. I don't pay extra. I know when I first started watching YouTube, I just signed in as my name. And then I started watching. And I wanted to make videos, but I did not want to make videos under my name. Okay. So then I researched it, and they have these things called brand accounts.
Huh? Yeah, I don't know what those are.
Okay. So your channel is always just the CodeX Cantina.
Yeah, we just registered a Gmail, the CodeX Cantina, and just ran it that way. Just kept it simple. So when we have to send each other footage and videos, when we record with each other, me and Crypto, we just use the same Google account. So we both have the password. We both log into the Drive, upload our footage to Drive, and then that's how I download it and edit it.
Yeah, well, I think that the brand account is also for people who have multiple channels. Because my wife kids me that if I wanted a channel with a lot of subscribers, start a cat channel.
Yeah, don't do books.
Don't do books.
Don't do books.
Do a channel filming our cats. We'll get lots of people watching because a video of my cat Bella has one of the most views, a short of my cat playing in water. Now, I'm going to start mentioning everyone who's here. We have Alexis. We have Read by Fred.
Hey, Fred.
Yeah, Bad Talking to Fred. Bad Talking to Alexis. Everyone talking to each other.
Yeah, now, Crypto doesn't make a lot of comments.
Groovy Pop-Tart.
Groovy Pop-Tart, I remember them.
She popped in on
Pop-Tart popped in. I see what you did there.
My conversation with Mark and Sean. So hello, glad you could drop by.
Now, Crypto doesn't comment a lot, but he did comment once, like last year. I made some kind of comment about him or something, or a shirt, and he wrote back.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was there, but he is.
He doesn't really engage on the YouTube side too much. Our channel is just two friends spending our quote unquote Friday night talking books. It's a book club for us. And that's what it is for him. He does that, and he runs the Patreon was one of his tasks.
Oh.
So I think for that one, I think I messaged him and I said, "Hey, Alan said something about you. Go check it out." So he'll log in and check out that, but he doesn't engage on the YouTube side too often. He's more of a show up to film type of guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's very cool. But you guys have a lot of like foreign subscribers, from Europe and probably Russia and all over, don't you? Japan, you do a lot of Japanese writers.
Yeah, we it was actually kind of funny. We had this guy comment, we do that book series. We don't have a ton of them because they take a lot of my time, but we do that before you read series. And I probably put 80 hours, 100 hours of editing into those videos. But those tend to do better because I put a lot of time into them, right? And those are meant to be, hey, before you read this book, here's some things to know, right? And it's not meant to be, here's things about the book. It's not meant to be telling you about the characters, the plot. It's supposed to be prepping you for things that, sometimes forwards exist for, but give you spoilers and stuff like that. Like that's the whole idea behind that series. But we had this guy comment once, I always remember it. He goes, "You silly Americans watching this." And he's just like, "You should just," and then he said something, he was very confident about. And I go and I look at, I'm like, actually, I'm kind of curious, what are the demographics of the people watching this? And the number one demographic watching it was like New Zealand. Number 2 was like UK. Number three was America. So we were in 3rd place. And I was like, oh man, missed that one, didn't you, buddy? But
wow, that's great.
We cover a lot of foreign stories. So I think, when you do that, it might attract perhaps people looking up literature from their country.
I haven't listened to your Borges one that you dropped yesterday, I think, or today. But I want to because I've never read Borges.
Oh, Alan.
That's one I've never read.
Alan.
I know.
We've got homework out of this. We've got homework out of today's live stream. We need to get you on some Borges.
No, they're doing Fictiones next month on Anna Novella and Micah Cummins.
What are they doing? They're doing a what?
They're doing what?
Borges' Fictiones.
Oh, they're gonna like talk about it or something,
or all month.
Very good.
So
I have hit Mike up about that.
I'm definitely going to be rereading some Borges next month.
Yeah. No, I think part of our plan is we've got kind of like a Borges, at least one a month, roughly for the rest of the year, because he's just such.
Well, you could take one if.
Well, I should get that short story collection, shouldn't I?
Oh yeah. Well,
you need to get. Hold on, Alan. Let me get it for you.
I bet you he's going to get collected fictions. Collected fictions is you get that, and you get basically all of his short stories.
Ultimately, you need this.
Okay, the full 3 set. Yeah.
Okay, well.
No. The thing is,
start with collected
his essays. I'm gonna say you can go without his essays. You won't miss too much. But this one.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that one.
This is the one to get. There is an older translation, which I think is fine. I mean, I don't know my Spanish well enough to say that this translation is that much better. Do you know, Una?
No, I'm not that fluent in Spanish. No.
I'm very tempted to get.
Well, you guys are breaking out.
I'm very tempted to get a Spanish language edition because I can sometimes make out the Spanish when I'm reading. Not enough to really read it.
Right.
I'd really like a bilingual edition with Spanish on one side, English on the other. But
because your poems edition has that, right?
Yes.
Where on one side it's Spanish and on the other side it's English, so it's nice to be able to kind of quickly compare them.
And it's good because the lines usually match up.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in like fiction, you don't get the lines to match up very often.
Yeah, it's very rare. I feel the need to go look at the Spanish for Borges, but that's probably just out of laziness of just, we're never going to know what that man was thinking. So just take it in and just react to it. That's been my kind of stance with Borges. But Alan, Borges is just mind blowing. He will change your mind of what you can accomplish in a short story.
And some of them are just, you think, is this really a short, or is this an essay?
Yeah.
Or is this a piece of philosophy? Or
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, well,
just,
some of them are just straight thought experiments. Like he's like, okay, we're gonna set up with some plot, and like, okay, let's get you interested, and then bam, he hits you with like this mind blowing, like crazy philosophical experiment.
Borges and I,
Yeah, you're just thinking about it for days.
which is
I've
curious.
heard about it is like labyrinth library story, or is that a novel?
That you're mixing two stories up.
Oh,
You're
I've
talking
heard,
about
I've heard some things.
probably
I've
The
heard
Garden of Forking Paths, which features a labyrinth and a novel. And you'll have to discover exactly why it features both when you read it. Probably one of my all-time favorite short stories. I think it comes at number 2.
And then you have House of Asterion, which is in a labyrinth for real. And then you have the Library of Babel, which is a labyrinth of books. He definitely stretches your mind, because I think when one of the traits of Borges is he talks about infinity a lot. And it's I don't know, there's something about infinity that when I try to think about it, there's like a gap in my brain or something. Like I have to fill it in. Like I can't imagine infinity of anything.
The human mind does not grasp that we can almost grasp the concept, but we always
Well,
put
you know what
a
an eon
finite
is?
on infinity when we think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they say an eon is? An
What's an
eon. I've heard. You might have heard this too. Like in Buddhism, it's when the wind knocks down a mountain, that's an eon.
Oh no, I haven't heard that one.
In the wind, yeah,
No,
something like that.
All right, I'm going to catch up with some comments. Bad is red. Everyone is my friend. Well, yes, we're all friends with Bad and Groovy Pop Tart. Just whenever subscribe to Codex.
So Una, you also have this book.
Is calling you out, not reading Borges. What a gap!
it's a great gap to discover.
It is.
Don't ever be embarrassed
hello,
about having a
Brandy.
gap.
The booklectic is here.
Brandy's up. She must be upward.
Borges.
Argentinian.
Alexis says Borges is Spanish. He's actually Argentinian.
Mm-hmm. Writes in Spanish. He has I don't know if he's written others, but I know he's recently written 2 poems in English. And there's a lot of speculation as to why he wrote those poems, and they're not in that collection that you have, Greg.
Okay.
And they're some of his most famous poems because there is just mountains of research on why did he write these poems in English? Whom did he write these poems for? These are clearly love poems. It's quite a labyrinth to jump down to figure that out. But yeah.
Maybe he just wanted to write in English.
Could be.
It could be because when someone is bilingual, sometimes they just want to write in a language not their normal, and that's
like Beckett wrote in French.
Nabokov.
Mm-hmm.
Writes English better than I can, like ridiculously.
he is perhaps the finest English stylist.
I've never met anyone as technical as him.
Nabokov?
Oh yeah. He is more technical than Joyce. Now Joyce is better, in my opinion. Joyce is the best at layering meanings. Like he could take one sentence and he knows you could mean one of 4 things. Like he could be referencing this Greek myth. He could be referencing this thing with the Catholic Church. He could be referencing this thing with Irish nationalism. Joyce was just that good. And I don't think it's an accident because of how often it happens with Joyce. But Nabokov is the most technical writer when you read him. It hurts my brain reading Nabokov.
And what's interesting is I used to work with a guy when I worked at a bookstore who was Russian. And he says his Russian is just as beautiful as his English. I mean, he's that much of a stylist in Russian as he was in English. So just a massive talent there.
Yeah. He one of my favorite works by him I discovered here recently. A friend bought me this book. He said, I'm gonna read Nabokov. I want you to read it with me, Una. And he bought me Pale Fire,
Oh, yeah.
which I had never read before. And what Pale Fire is, this will get you interested in a book off. You ready for this? So imagine you're buying a book on like an epic poem. It's 1,000 lines, roughly. It's like 999 lines. There's a missing line for some reason. And you've got a foreword of someone talking about like what you're about to read. You got analysis at the end, and then you have a glossary of terms at the end. A pretty traditional classic book setup, right? But what's different about Pale Fire is this whole setup, the introduction, the poem, the analysis, and the glossary are all part of the book. They're all telling the story, where this guy critiquing the poem is forcing himself into the legacy of this poem, forcing himself into, oh, this is what he really meant. You guys wouldn't know because I was good friends with the author. Let me tell you what it's really about. And then he'll go on this diatribe for pages on what is ultimately just one line of poetry, which is kind of funny, kind of ironic. But the whole book is structured like this, where it's very meta, the way it plays and calls off of the different parts of it. And the best part, the funniest part, is in the end in the glossary. You know how like glossary is like they'll sometimes say, well, see this word. Oh, and then you go see that word. It says, okay, well, actually go see this word. There's one part that's a recursive loop. It just keeps you chasing in a circle when you start going to see what he tells you to go see. So a masterpiece of literature.
I have not read the whole thing just because I know it's going to exhaust me.
It is.
That book. It is.
Any of his works are exhausting because they hurt your brain. He's so precise with his words. You can't read at a normal speed. At least I can't. I gotta like stop every couple of sentences and be like, okay, what does he mean by this? And it takes time. It's hard.
It does. And sometimes on books like that, I just say, I'm just going to read the book.
Yeah.
I did that with the Magic Mountain last year because I knew I could take one chapter and I could just analyze that to death and never get to the end and never finish the book.
Right.
So I just said, I'm just going to read it. What I know, and what I don't know, I don't know. And it was still a great book at the end.
Yeah.
So here we have a comment from Groovy Pop-Tart. I'm a beginning reader, but I enjoy listening to y'all talk about books and authors I haven't read yet, but will at some point.
There we go.
There we go. You know something? A lot of the books we're talking here, like Magic Mountain and Nabokov, maybe those aren't the best entry points if you're a beginning reader in serious literature.
Yeah, don't start there. Don't start there.
Now, Borges, I think you can pick up a short story and just say, okay, this is going to be really tough. I know when I was a freshman in university, we had to read The Garden of Forking Paths. And that was my introduction to Borges. And that was just like, that just floored me.
That's got to be hard to approach at that age. I approached it I came to Borges very late, and it still was a lot. It hurt. But I guess that's a good question, like an ancillary question to Pop-Tart's comments is what would be like let me just start with like the direct questions. What got you guys into reading literature specifically? Like
literary. A high school English teacher. I had the same teacher for 4 years, and then I got in like honors English last year. So she was Mrs. Selden. I'll never forget her.
Yeah, but what she had you read that like clicked with you?
Well, like Waiting for Godot, and I think we read The Dead, stuff like that.
Joyce? Woo!
Yeah, in high school.
Good teacher right there.
Yeah. Then my grandmother got me. Well, my mother got me into reading. Like we had the Peach section in the newspaper. It was peach color and had comics and all that. So she'd always give that to me, and I remember acting like I could read, or trying to. Mm-hmm. That was like before that was like third grade, or I don't know, even younger.
Okay. So you got into literature kind of in high school era, is that right?
Well, no, junior high too. I was an early reader,
Okay.
Comics and Mad Magazine.
I didn't get into literature until probably my 20s, after I graduated college.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I
Yeah,
started.
What was your major in college? Una?
computers.
You with him?
You want to know something really bizarre? My major
Yes.
was in college was English literature, and then I wound up working in computers.
Hey. So it was either junior or senior year. In my mind, I said, okay, I'm gonna switch majors. And I was thinking about linguistics specifically. I liked the study of language. It just entranced me. And I graduated still doing computers because I was like, well, there's a lot of flexibility in where I live and what type of job I have with that. Let's continue with that for now. I actually applied to go back to get my master's and PhD in linguistics and the study of cognitive science, the study of the brain and such. And I went through all the work, taking those dang tests and applying and talking to professors, got into school, and then I didn't go because I was like, I don't have much
Yeah.
flexibility with that.
Oh.
But yeah,
I was a theater major as an undergrad. I used to read plays like exclusively and write scripts, try to do all that. But I rarely even talk about plays anymore.
yeah, I just read a play today. Well,
Oh, you did?
kinda. It's considered like they call it a short story adapted from a play. Have you read Cain by Gene Toomer?
I have the book, but not the play.
Okay. Well, it's the last part of the book. So the book has 3 parts,
Okay.
and it consists of poetry, it consists of prose short stories, and the last part is kind of like it's a play that got adapted essentially. So they say it started the Harlem Renaissance. But it's one of those books that the beauty of the language. Gene Toomer has this unique skill, kind of like Langston Hughes, where you feel the music as you read it. Your foot starts tapping, and even though it's prose, you can feel the rhythm and the energy in it, and it's just a wonderful read, just from a pure lyricism standpoint by itself.
I have it on my Kindle. They were offering it for like 99 cents one day. And I said, I just buy those books because it's 99 cents and it's good for someday. Now, I want to catch up on some comments because we're getting
we're too talky.
We're
talky here. We're sorry for being talky, people. You came here for a live talk.
It was happening on Mark's channel too. So I don't feel as guilty now that we all get talking. Medium John Silver, I often visit Fictionary's great stuff. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna look at used bookstores, Alan, and see if I can find a copy of Borges for you.
Yeah, we need to Borges it up with you.
Yeah, captivating short stories. Read by Fred, The Library of Babel. Library of Babel. I mean, if anything, go to your library and get Borges. Most libraries will have Borges.
Oh yeah.
Like they're really out in the sticks somewhere.
Yeah. And I would agree with your comment too. Of start with a Garden of Forking Paths. Just start on that story because you'll get a good flavor of Borges.
And it's just such a good when you get to that reveal, your mind will be going like, huh?
Yeah. Well, if it
What's
hasn't
the name
already,
of that short story again?
What's
the name of
the Garden of Forking Paths.
Okay.
And
Alan, go to your library tomorrow.
And that collection that
I have to take books back anyway.
It has basically all of his short stories. I think
I believe all of his short stories.
This is a collection that you should buy. It's worth it.
Yeah, I'll go to Powell's and get it. Probably just go to Powell's and get
another
it.
infinity story, a book with infinite pages. Darn, now I have to reread Borges. It's been a while. Well, as I said, next month on Anna Novellas and Micah Cummings' channel, it's not a channel, it's a Discord. They're reading one book a month, and next month is Fictiones. So you can join their Discord and listen to everyone talk about these channels. Well, not channels, books, stories. My TBR gets longer and longer. I will die before I finish it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Don't die. Wait till
Yeah,
you,
just
you
keep
can't die
reading.
until you finish.
It's reading is one of the safest activities I've ever done. I feel really safe when reading.
Except in certain states in the United here, if they get their way, they're going to be coming after.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think maybe
It's kind of funny as we're catching up on these comments, Alan. We published that video on the Circular Ruins, a short story by Borges today. And
oh, hello, MJ. You know why?
NJ.
You've been
And one
here
of
for a
the-
while and haven't said hello yet. Sorry about that.
And one of the comments that came up was someone said, "Go read this story by Borges." So it's like just by talking about a story, I'm getting homework and having to do another story. So my TBR continues to grow too, of just stuff to read.
You know, another writer that MJ's kind of spearheading that I have not read yet is Agatha Christie.
Oh,
So we're going to read some
mystery.
Agatha next month.
Yeah, I've only read was that the Nile one?
I've only
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I've read.
I have read the first Hercule Poirot book, The Affair of Mystery of Styles.
Okay.
You know, it was a fine mystery. It's a little quaint for me.
Okay.
I tend to like my mysteries a little edgier.
Okay.
But it was good, and I am going to try to get an Agatha Christie in. I'm on my book buying ban, so we'll have to figure out some way to sneak that in. We'll see.
Maybe if it goes on sale for 99 cents on Kindle, you'll pick it up.
Well, the thing is, I have this rule is because when I buy things from Amazon, they give you credits, especially if you don't pick slower shipping. And I said, well, I have to use my credits. I can't let them expire.
Right. It's free money.
What? It's a gift.
Yeah.
So maybe they will have one on sale.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend about, those subscription boxes where you could subscribe and they'll send you a box of stuff every month. I always think that's interesting, but I also feel like with books, I don't know, it just feels impossible to me because like the books you send me, I'm not going to be interested in. Like when I want to read a book, there's like a specific book I want to read, or I want to go read this. I'm not the type of reader where I'm just like, well, I don't know what to read. Like I've got a list of stuff I need to get to.
But Brandy does a lot of those boxes like off eBay where they're mystery box. You can do like a genre. And ever since I was a kid and a magician, I'd love to get stuff in the mail from like magic shops or, just stuff in the mail. I remember like getting off the bus and running home to get my box. And I'm still like that. I love getting stuff in the mail. So does Bad.
I love.
I've got a box for Bad sitting here.
Red, glad to see so many great people here tonight. Yes, hello everybody. I'm skipping some of the comments really quick where everyone's saying hello to everyone. I just presume you're catching up on those on your own. Al is here. Good day. Hello, Al.
Hey, Al. I was talking about you, Al, about last night. We did the Finnegan's Wake Hour with Adam Savage. He's becoming a friend of mine too, Adam. But that was really cool. We did a deep dive into the Ballad of Percy O'Reilly. We talked for about like 2 hours on that.
Brave souls. I'm supposed to embark upon Ulysses here soon. And to Greg's earlier point about how often do you look stuff up? How often do you look to say, what did I just read? And I've really struggled with how to do Ulysses because, he's an author that I just venerate and I think he's just amazing. And I know that Ulysses is just going to hit me over the head. So I'm like, do I just read it without looking up anything? Just read it and then come back and then do it chapter by chapter and then say, okay, what does this really mean? What's he getting at with this?
Have you ever read it before?
Negative. This will be my first time.
See, I have listened to the audiobook many, many years, and that's just plain old. You're just listening and gathering what you can gather. And then last year I reread the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And while reading the Odyssey, I listened to some college lectures about the Odyssey. So I'm getting to understand the Odyssey. And then for Ulysses, what I really want to do is get the audiobook. I want to get the great courses talking about Ulysses.
I've got that.
So you can start going through, because this time around I'll know the basic plot. I know the basics of the Odyssey, and then you can listen to the college lectures and follow along with the text as you're reading. Still probably more depth than I'm not gonna stop and start researching every little bit.
Sure.
Okay.
It's just too much.
Frank Delaney, the late great Frank Delaney, I was doing it live with him like years ago, and then he died, I think during Wandering Rocks, like the 10th episode. But he would do like a line by line analysis, like we'd probably do a page at the most. That was excellent. So I did that, and that's all. It's preserved on Frank Delaney, Rejoice.
Okay.
So that's a valid approach, Una. You know, it's not the way I did it. My grandma bought me Ulysses in like 1983 or 84, and I went through it. I just went through it like with allusions in Ulysses. I forget who wrote that one. And then I came upon Gifford's annotations, and then I went to University College Dublin, studied there, and got into like some deep dives. And like some people think Buck Mulligan is gay, and he certainly acts that way towards, especially in that first chapter, Telemachus. But that might be a stretch. You know how you can write an essay about anything and make it, fit in your thesis.
I made a channel out of it.
University, I could put in anything in a paper I wanted to, stretch it if I was reasonable about it and put some citations. I remember one professor was looking at me, he was like, really? That's what you think this is about? But, the idea is just get you thinking and reading, and you're not in graduate school where you have to defend your thesis.
Oh.
So here Al is talking about Hesse.
Herman.
I presume so.
It's the only one I know.
What have I read? I've read Steppenwolf. I've read Siddhartha, Damien, and I just read this last month Narcissus and Goldman.
Oh, you've read a bunch. A lot more than me. Yeah, he's another one of those writers that, I don't know, he perplexes me. And that's maybe just because I don't know enough about him or his background. But
really philosophical.
Yeah. I'd like to take another swing. I want to say it's been at least 10 years or so since I've tried Hesse. Is that how you pronounce it? Hesse?
I think it's Hesse, but I'm not German. If someone knows German, go ahead and make a comment correcting our pronunciation.
That's the nice thing about reading is there's tons of works that I've come back to now 5-10 years later, and I'm like, oh, now I get it. How did I not see this earlier?
Well, yeah, Bad is going. I'm a beginning reader too, as well. Pop-Tart. Al is recommending Heart of Darkness is great for a beginner. One of my favorites. Heart of Darkness is also one of my favorites, but the Conrad style can be so dense.
I haven't read it since high school, so I don't even really remember it.
Okay, I love him, but it is very dense, and it can possibly put some people off.
Yeah. Well, it also matters too, like as a reader, where are you in your journey too, right? Like as a person, because I feel like, certain works work well in your teenager years or even early 20s. Like people talk about Catcher in the Rye is one of those books that works well typically for teenagers, but when you read it as a 40, 50-year-old man, you just get irritated with Holden. That you resonate with the characters on different levels depending on where you are in your life too.
You see, I never read it, and now I'm pushing 60, and I'm thinking, no, just let that one slide, and
It's too late. We've missed that one.
the boat is gone.
Oh, Alan's got it. I've thought about revisiting that one. I've revisited a lot of Vonnegut lately. Vonnegut is another one of those ones that seems to work really well for when you're younger and as you get older. I think he holds up a little bit better, though. I still like a lot of Vonnegut's works.
We're actually, Alan and I, we're making our way through Vonnegut.
Mm-hmm.
And
breakfast.
That's my favorite Vonnegut.
Is it?
I used to read Catcher in the Rye like every other year. It seemed like for not all the time, but around when John Lennon got shot, that dude. Well, I won't even say his 3 names, but he was reading a copy of Catcher in the Rye when the cops came up, and he's just standing there waiting to get arrested.
So Groovy Pop Tart, I'm reading 5th and 6th grade level right now, although in my 50s, and I'm working my way up.
Yeah.
You do with what you can, and all I can say is always stretch yourself a little. I mean, there are some things even now when I read it is just above me, like Foucault.
Oh.
You read some of that, and I'm going like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've got a couple eco books now, and I've got a.
You're not talking Umberto Eco. I'm talking about.
Oh, Volca. I thought you were talking about the pendulum.
I'm talking this guy right here.
Oh.
That's like pay level, like pay from attention. He's able to read those big brain books and break them down on levels.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's another level reader where he can craft things together that I could never.
Martin Heidegger. Have you ever picked up Meaning Time?
Him, Kant, a lot. I try, but they're nearly impenetrable for me. It is super hard.
It's in English, but it's a foreign language.
Yep.
Yeah. My forte is existentialism and probably Nietzsche, or that's when I read like Hesse and that. But shit, what was I going to say?
Here's Al recommending the Groovy Pot, attempting audiobooks and listen at the same time. That's really a good way to get through a hard book.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
It helps me read faster, too. I read it like 1.6.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on the narrator, too, right? Like there's some narrators like you got to put on 2 speed because it's just like they're so slow, and then there's some that are 1.5.
There are some narrators that are 1.5. I don't even know. I'm fast. Let me catch up with we got some more comments here. Yep.
Audio immersion reading is really good. I started doing that lately.
Gen X, Al. I was a Gen X Laxkey because I walked the library. Hello, Elizabeth. I'm sorry it's taking me 20 minutes to say hello to you, but
we're keeping him talking. You can blame us for that.
Yeah, Greg reads the I can't see. I gotta go like that. And so
saying hello, and David Hall.
I'm waiting for somebody to do a version of Circe Nighttime as a play. He blots the sun out with his finger. It'd be doable.
So David is going, I think the first reading experience that really clicked for me was a short story assigned the first year of college class, Bullet in the Brain by Tobias Wolff. I've read some Tobias Wolff, but I have not read that
one
story.
You never go home again.
Bad as read. My husband graduated in computer science, so pretty much why we are in Austin.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Keep Austin weird.
My last computer job, it was all remote, and I had the opportunity to keep my job when I moved from Washington State. But for people who have employment, sometimes you outgrow a job, or the job just changes. And I said, I got to leave that job. So I just decided, I sold my house for a lot more than I thought we were going to, and I just kind of retired.
Oh, yeah.
That's the beauty right there.
Yep. Groovy Pop, try reading the book and listen to it. It'll help you improve your comprehension and speed. Yep.
Sometimes also the immersion reads help with like the rhythm of a writer. Like some writers just they've got special attention to how the prose comes across. And sometimes I don't hear it until I actually have an audiobook narrator tell me.
Al and I are experiencing this with our reading of the Recognitions by William Gaddis.
Okay.
There are conversations where you're seeing this whole word clumped together and go, what is that word? But when the narrator, he's going, what a fuck.
What a fuck.
Because the guys are really drunk and can't say, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
What a fuck. And if you weren't just reading it, you could miss that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's a great writer, though. I really like him.
Yeah, I remember Noah was going off about him for a while there, and it's one of those big books that I feel intimidated by. Never felt the need to tackle just yet.
I never did either until Greg turned me on to like JR, and then I'm just off to the races.
Yep, Morton Adler's How to Read. That's a very famous essay book.
I like the ABCs of Reading by Ezra Pound. That's kind of hard, though. The ABCs of Reading, but it's great. Great book of essays.
Al, his favorite play is Pygmalion. Shh, don't tell anyone. Well, you know, this is a live broadcast.
George Bernard Shaw, great. One of the 4 people in Ireland who won Nobel Prize for Literature. Ireland has more Nobel Prize winners than any other country. They have 4, and Joyce isn't even one of them.
Yeah.
Neither is Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Seamus Heaney, Yeats, George Bernard Shaw, and Beckett.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and Groovy Pop-Tart's enjoying her journey. Al, The Knight with the Rusty Armor is a great, easy read and message for everyone. Al, awesome. We are in this together. Al read The Alchemist last week and Joseph Campbell's Corporate. You're talking about Ben Jonson's play, The Alchemist, I presume?
Or the Paulo.
I love Joseph Campbell.
Or the Brazilian Paulo.
Oh, that's another one?
Okay. I'm sure Al has read.
That would be, easier to read than Ben Jonson's play, The Alchemist.
Yeah, it's pretty approachable. I can't remember why it's controversial. Either the author was controversial or the book was. I can't remember why it came up recently. But it's always on those like top Brazilian books to read when you look up lists from that country.
Here's MJ, Agatha in April, happening 4/14 to 1 weekend.
Oh,
okay. Someone's got to read, and then there are none with me, so I can really.
I want to read that. I got that coming.
You got that from the library?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a buddy read. Then I can go out and get it and count it.
Oh, okay.
Al, first time reading Kahlo. Yeah, you got that right on the. I was thinking of a different. Oh, hey Caitlin, Bandy's Books is here. Just a little slow and getting the.
Oh, baby.
Medium John Silver just finished Murder on the Orient Express yesterday. Excellent Perot.
Yeah, I'm going to be reading that too. I've never read it.
There's been a couple of Netflix renditions of her books here recently too. Seems like, I don't know, even my dad, he just picked up a couple of mystery short story collections. And I don't know if there's like a trend going on or what, but it's kind of nice because you've seen those movies, the Knives Out with the James Bond actor's name?
Oh, the James Bond guy.
Yeah. It seems like mysteries are kind of taken off for like some Netflix productions and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, I don't get cable or satellite. I'd never leave the house because I can get into all that.
Yeah, Al, I read the old dime stuff like the Orient. I love old mystery paperbacks. They're just so much fun.
Yeah.
Especially get the original covers.
Yeah. Greg at Powell's is like Kid in a Candy Store.
Mm-hmm. All right, how's my magazine quality books meant to be once or twice, then tossed? Eclectic. I love to get science fiction mystery books specifically. You know,
Hmm.
they could be fun. I mean, if they're not too expensive, you might get one or two, and then the rest are just there.
I used to really like science fiction as a kid. That's what I primarily read when I was like in grade school. Like it started off with I think like sports books. I'd read like baseball books and stuff like that. And then I started getting more into sci-fi, and sci-fi led me to Vonnegut. Vonnegut led me more to literary fiction. That's been my journey for the most part.
I started in science fiction.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I actually started with H.P. Lovecraft and then moved all the way up.
Wow. Yeah.
And
That's
then
I started reading Lovecraft just last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's back when I had an imagination. I don't have an imagination anymore, so now I just read boring stuff. There you go.
Bad, I think I did pretty well on giving. Bad, you did excellent. At least on my box. I was like top notch.
Yeah, mine too. I was totally surprised. That's why I've got a lot of surprises for her. First of the month, I'll send it.
So Bandy, I'm quite into the subscription boxes.
What subscription boxes do you have, Bandy? I'd be curious to hear which ones you subscribe to. I saw one. I can't remember what it was. Alan, maybe you heard about this one. There was one that almost got me because they give you a choice, which I like, because I like being able to choose. I'm a picky reader. But one of them was Clarice Lispector.
Oh.
And if there's a subscription box that has Lispector in it, I'm like, okay, well, I'll pay attention. You might have some good stuff in there. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe we need to start a subscription service for the hard books people want to read in the class, you know, and some newer ones, because there's some newer ones that would fit in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you guys watch Jack's video on like his top 5 Argentinian novels? No. I think it was. He's got one on there that he says by it's called like Adam Buenos Aires. He said it, and I've heard multiple people claim this, that it is the basically the Latin American Ulysses. And I'm in Las Vegas, so I don't have it, but I had that book gifted to me at Christmas.
Who's the buy again?
I can look it up.
We'll have to look it up.
I was going to say, I know the book is called Adam Buenos Aires.
Oh, excuse me. MJ, 14 people in the chat and only 6 likes. We can do better than that. Yeah, nice, help me out. But, you know, I understand.
The author is Leopoldo Marechal for that book.
Bad, tried a book of the month, but I'd rather look for my books. You know, I'm sort of the same way. Some of these are very tempting. The only subscription service I've been tempted to is the New York Review Book of Classics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been very tempted to join that one.
Yep. That is one I looked at too.
That's very cool.
It is, but you know, I have so many that I haven't read that they'd be piling up.
Yeah.
That's
I got a book. I got a book I want to buddy read with Una sometime.
Is it the 100? It's the 100.
Yeah. I know you've got it now. So it's really good. I've read it. I read it with MH Books, who's in Dublin, and she's not really active on BookTube anymore.
Yeah.
But I chat with her once in a while. I've got a boxer out to Jason Harrigan too, wondering like, what's up, bud?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How was your, did you have any corned beef? I didn't say that, but
did I tell you I'm going back to Ireland next month?
No.
So
wow,
the 14th through the 30th, I'll be in Ireland again.
That's cool.
Dublin, or do you branch out?
No, I'll be going to Dublin. I want to go to how do you pronounce it? The Marcello Tower? How do you say that?
Yeah, Marcello.
Yeah, so there's like an actual museum.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay, so I haven't done that one. I want to go do that one this time.
Yeah, that's where the first chapter of Telemachus takes place.
Yeah, well, that's part of my goal is to ideally have at least started or gotten through a majority of Ulysses by the time I go back to Ireland, because walking around those streets when they talk about leaning against the rails at Trinity College in 2 gallants, and they talk about St. Stephen's Green in After the Race, like being in those areas and picturing it when you're reading the book is so cool.
Yeah,
well, Stephen's Green is right across from UCD, University College of Dublin. Mm-hmm. And there's a big plaque on there that Jared Hopkins went there, and James Joyce. But there's a big bust of Joyce in Stephen's Green. Mm-hmm. And Martello Tower, they take you right up to the top of the tower. You go up the winding stairs, and it's real. You got to kind of duck. People were short back then. Yeah, I think James Joyce was probably like 5'7", but
I do want to go to Dublin and Ireland someday. But I tell my wife I want to go in June, and I want. I want to go on Bloomsday.
Okay.
And I want to sit in a pub somewhere where people are just reading Ulysses.
Davy Byrne.
Not in Temple though. Not in Temple. Not in June in Temple. I bet you it's insane in that area. That's a place. I went to Temple Bar at 10 in the morning, and it was shoulder to shoulder packed. You cannot get into Temple Bar at any time of the day and there not be just wall to wall people there.
Well, you might have to go a little farther down the scale, just regular people. I don't know. I think it'd be a lot of fun just to
it is.
Be there on the day and just sort of walk around and see
100%. Yeah. So when I went, it's the craziest thing. I heard blaring out of the bars, Garth Brooks, all around Dublin. There was hats, there was boots. Apparently, Garth Brooks was doing like 6 straight days of performances in Dublin, and since Ireland is a very heavily rural area. Like it's way more like in terms of population, all over the country. The Garth Brooks is huge, so it was like 6 or 7 days straight of Garth Brooks, and all the country folk would pile in on the trains and walk around. The just north of the Liffey is where the theater is, and it was crazy. I never knew Garth Brooks was as big as he is in Ireland.
No, yeah, who knew?
Al recommends the Skeleton Key, then reread it to try to listen to the Skeleton Key open. Okay.
Yeah, I think. I think I'm convinced that's the way to do it. Yeah.
That's a great book, The Skeleton Key by Campbell.
So that's a specific book. I was thinking just referencing to like annotations and stuff like that. The Skeleton Key is an actual book on Ulysses, you're saying?
No, it's on Finnegan's Wake, but.
Oh, I'm doing Ulysses first. I ain't got time for Finnegan's Wake.
Yeah.
I gotta get through Ulysses first.
Yeah, I gotta do Ulysses again. So, again, let me try to catch up on some comments here. Brandy's going, I do the Book of the Month Club, but it's not the best. I really like Boxwalla, but I've never received a bad book from them. Oh,
yeah, MJ does Book of the Month Club.
We love you too. Lots of lights from Bad. I studied. Oh, here's Al. I studied under an acolyte of Northrop Frye, thus the love of Joyce. It was essential to a good mark.
There you go.
Fell in love.
Hessa.
Yes,
Holden needs a spanking.
All our old fogies.
That sounds like a tag in the making. What literary character needs a spanking the most?
Oh, Brandy, you got to make a tag on that one. It's yours.
Yeah, please do. Please make a tag, and that's got to be one of the prompts. What character would you want to spank? Who needs a spanking?
Oh, Holden from Catcher in the Rye, yeah.
Al, Heart of Darkness is short, about 120 pages, is tough, thus a challenge and an accomplishment. Trees, millions of trees, running up high. The bank, the grind steam. I still remember the steamboat and being plugged with were they spears or arrows going down?
I just thought of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit when he talked about millions of trees, because there's a lot of descriptions of trees and like landscaping in those books.
Holden is archetype. Will you conform to social conventions or be brave and break the mold?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to think about breaking the mold, but again, I think we're just past that age. I'm looking for.
Also, it's one of those books where some people need to relate to the main character, and depending on your life experiences, that could be one of those characters you just cannot relate to. And for readers that have to have that's going to be a problem for them.
There needs to be a book about old people breaking the mold, about what's expected of them.
Okay, the first question on the new tag is, what literary character needs a spanking? Second question is, what literary character is old and moldy?
Groovy Pop-Tart, they tell you how much my wife and I were drooling over the meatball casserole video you posted. Uh-oh, there's a meatball casserole I gotta check out.
Oh, I haven't eaten dinner yet. That's just mean.
Meatball does sound good.
Now I'm getting hungry.
I know.
Only 2% have ever tried at 1.2 or above Audible. I was surprised.
Like 1.2 and below is like untenable to me.
It really depends on the narrator. I've sometimes gone up to 0.2, but at that point, they really do get chipmunky.
Like I do 1.5. I'm doing 1.5 with Gaddis.
1.5 for Gaddis is like normal conversation.
Yeah. Have you ever seen what's that YouTube channel where it's like for students? I think it's like Course Hero or something like that. They've got this guy that talks at an absurdly fast volume. Like probably 2.0 audiobook speed is his normal speed. Wow. And here's what's interesting is and part of why their videos do so well is that you learn that and YouTube, how you can speed up and slow down YouTube videos too?
Yeah.
That when you slow down YouTube videos, that improves your watch time. So you actually have greater watch time than the video length itself. People think YouTube thinks you're rewatching that video, and as a result, it makes your video look even more amazing. So if you can get people to slow down and watch your video for longer, essentially by talking too fast, is I think part of their strategy, interestingly enough.
So now, does it work in reverse that if I watch it at a higher speed, they watch less?
Yeah.
So no. Here's something that always got me is like sometimes you view your stats and they watch a video. It has like it's like a 7-minute video and a 3-minute average watch time.
Yeah.
So maybe they're watching at double speed and getting most of it, but it only looks like.
There are a ton of people that don't make it past the 10-second, 30-second mark. That's where you get a lot of your hits. And then, that last 30% that's still there, they're the ones that are watching it, all the way to the end or, 66% in.
Yeah. I always think it's bad because sometimes videos start automatically and they're not stuff you're planning on watching. So you hit stop.
Yeah.
So that poor person is getting the hit. I stopped at 10 seconds when really it would not be one I would have normally picked up anyway.
Right. No, that's exactly how YouTube works. It's like the TikTok flick up effect, like where they just want to keep you on the drug of just watching more and more videos.
Oh, here's Groovy Pop-Tart has over 5,000 views for such a simple but yummy meal.
I want to eat meatballs tonight now. I think that's what I'm going to do after we're done with this stream is I'm going to go get some pasta.
Yeah, it's curious. Like I said, one of my most popular videos is my cat playing in the sink.
How can you beat that?
You
want to be popular, don't do books.
Do a cat channel.
You have to be careful with
Nietzsche. MJ 1.2 is her max. I had spaghetti with ghost chili. Woo!
I'm not doing the ghost chilies though.
Bad. I would do ghost chilies with spaghetti. Got to be careful because my wife doesn't like hot, so it'd have to be on the side. But I would do ghost chilies.
I'm too weak. I don't have the constitution for it.
I have powder from Grim Reaper chilies, which is
it true you got to wear gloves when you're? Like, is that true? Like, is that
on some of them? If it's raw, I think so. I know with the Grim Reaper is you put a couple grains in something and it's hot. This is like the Scoville of like 60 or 40,000, 60,000. It's just.
Whew. No, I can't do that.
Well, you're in Vegas, Una. I'd go get some shrimp cocktail and prime rib for $5.
Shrimp cocktails even push me to my limits sometimes. I'm pretty weak when it comes to spicy food.
Oh.
You know, there is a podcast available on Audible about peppers, growing, like the history of growing peppers. And they have this really good story interview in England where they have a chili eating contest. Eat the raw chilies.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have a big line of people, like 12, 15 people.
Yeah.
And you start with the lowest chili. And everyone can eat the chili pepper, no problem. And then they go up in the Scoville level. And the people start dropping off.
Yep.
And the very end, they have a British man, and I think she's from Jamaica or somewhere in the Caribbean. And they're both eating these really super hot chilies. And they've interviewed, and he goes, woman, you know, my son's in the audience. Can you please let me win? And the woman turns to him, you win if you win.
And what about that one, that Hot Wings channel, where they have all the famous celebrities and they go up the tier doing hot sauce?
Yeah.
I get in the rabbit hole sometimes and watch him.
Have you have either of you heard of Jungle Gyms in Ohio? I think it might be marketing, but they claim to be the biggest grocery store in America. To the point where at one point, when I went to college near there, I went to college in Ohio. They were planning to build like a monorail around the place. I don't know if they ever did or not, but at one point they're even selling cars there and such. It's huge. Well, take your average grocery store, right? Like walking down an aisle, probably got like 5 or 6 different, you know, those shelving units set up. They have an entire aisle of just hot sauces, nothing but hot sauces. And the top is, I don't know if it's for show or not, but they're locked up. So kind of like when you go to like a fancy alcohol store, you know how they lock up really expensive liquor because they don't want you walking out of the store with $1,000 bottle, right? Well, this place locks up the dangerous hot sauces. And I don't know if it's marketing or what, but we were naive enough, my friend and I, to go there on a hot sauce tasting day.
Let me catch up with some comments here. We're getting behind here. Again, Al going 1.2 to 2.5 is his thing. 1.5 for Al. Yeah, groovy bed. Ghost papers, yikes. I'll go for it. Al, if I'm so screwed, read about it and then some. Haha, ghost paper, very good in the hot sauce form. David Hall, Allen. It's a story by Tobias Wolff, not Thomas Wolfe.
Oh, okay. My fault.
Big fan of Thomas, yeah.
Thanks, David.
As I said, I know Tobias did This Boy's Life or something about a boy's life. I can't tolerate much heat. Groovy Pop-Tart. That's okay. Pop-Tart, chili, spicy for sure. Al, when someone says, I like Nietzsche, you have to say, which parts?
Why is that?
I like Zarathustra. I like Will to Power.
I think he's making a joke about something.
Oh, I like The Eternal Return.
The Knight in the Rusty Armor was wonderful. I read it when I was 12 or so. Here's Elizabeth. Sorry, Alan. France has more Nobel than Ireland. I think Ireland win the Nobel per inhabitants.
Okay, well, I stand corrected.
I think she's right. I think France has more, but I don't follow that closely.
You gonna switch teams now, Alan? You gonna switch all your flags to France now?
He can't read in French. He's Elizabeth can read French books, so she's good.
Yeah, that's her
I
native
agree.
language.
He is the most misunderstood and maligned philosopher. He was also a philologist. Talking
He
about
was a kid,
our
yeah.
boy Nietzsche. Awesome, Alan. Buddy reads The Turn of the Screw by Henry. Oh, that's a great story.
They were supposed to be making a Netflix special out of that one too.
I think they did.
Did they?
Brandy loves Knives Out. You know, that's one of the few movies I've seen in the past few years. It's okay. It's pretty. It's entertaining.
I love that movie. It's great.
I haven't seen it.
ElfQuest Date Me as Gen X.
It's probably the closest to capturing Agatha Christie as far as shows go to me. It's one of those great mysteries.
It was, it was very clever.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen both? Have you seen the second one? Because the second one's, I like it even better than the first one.
You did. I like the first. I mean, what was better? What do you think about the second one was better?
What do I think was better?
Yeah.
I thought the layering. I thought the layering of the tricks of who could it be, because like when they do those mysteries, it's pretty common for them to give you a reason why anyone could be guilty.
Right.
Like you got to go through that, because now you got to start figuring out, well, where's the flaws in the story. And I thought the second one did a better job of tricking me in terms of like, oh, I think it's this character. I think it's this character. Like, to me, it layered, pulling back the straws of making you who you think is guilty better than the first one. For me.
Okay. All I remember when I was watching it, I'm not going to spoil. There's a red herring character that just keeps showing up, and it's just, what's he got to do with this story?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of the it's kind of like have you ever read that Ready Player One book?
I did.
It's kind of like the red herring character in that one was so obvious as to like how it was going to play into the plot, and when they have those characters that like you're like, oh, they're trying to trick you with this character so that you're not thinking of that, like that is always a little frustrating if it's just too obvious.
Well, the thing about Ready Player One is like, okay, I was a child of the 80s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So they had one point, which is going to make me sound like such a geek, but I played D&D
oh yeah,
and they talked about this module about all the things you do. I said, okay, I remember doing that and playing and going through it, and it's like,
yeah.
But in the end, it was just.
Have you ever seen those honest if movie posters were honest? Someone did that for books, and they said if book titles were honest, and they put the Ready Player One book, but instead of calling it Ready Player One, they just called it nostalgia porn.
Sounds like a Mad magazine.
I could totally understand that, because I said it hit directly when I was like a kid, all the right stuff, and I'm going.
Yep. I claim the 80s.
Did you want to get back to your hot? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go.
I was gonna say I claim the 80s, even though I was only there for 8 of the years. I was born in 82, but I still claim being an 80s child.
I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to graduate high school in 82.
Yeah, me too.
Those are the years. Those are the years.
Bandy has some great content. Bandy does have some very good content.
I have to subscribe to Bandy's channel.
He does. You do.
Did you want to get back to your hot sauce story, Una?
Oh.
Top shelf with the key?
I went there with my friend.
Let me try to catch up with some. We're still way behind on comments.
This stream's gonna be over, and we're still gonna be catching up for hours on all the comments.
We are. Bandy, so far the book of the month and Aardvark. I'm digging Aardvark because it's mostly debuts under the radar books. I saw her do a video.
I'm gonna give her a pun for that too, because she says I'm digging Aardvark. There's a pun.
That's fun.
I'm gonna give her credit for that one.
Bandy, a classics box for readers like me that have no idea where to start with classics would be nice. so intimidating.
Yeah.
MJ, The Strand has a fantastic choice of genre-specific and quarterly subscription boxes. I have seen you talk about those subscription boxes, and they're always tempting. And the thing that stops me from subscription boxes is all this behind me right there. I have so many books behind me.
Yeah, MJ did a video on one of her boxes, though, and it came with a bunch of other stuff, like cool stuff. Not just books, but like a candle. And
Bolaño. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's talking Bandy. If you want a killer Latin American book from Argentinian author, definitely check out 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. It's about 1,100 pages and beautiful in both Spanish and English. I've read that book twice.
I haven't read that one yet, but I've read some Bolaño, and it's
I'm actually reading a Bolaño right now. He's
oh yeah, I've read 266 a couple times.
It's not as good. It's not as good as this 266. He was firing on all cylinders when he's writing this book.
Which one are you reading now? The detectives one, or which one?
No, the Spirit of Science Fiction.
Oh,
I've not heard of that.
I think it's one of his earlier books that he was teaching himself how to write, and they published it when he got famous.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay.
Yeah, that's one of those.
I want to read The Savage Detective.
I have read The Savage Detectives too.
Have you? That's not there, Alan. That's a gap in my reading repertoire. As I haven't read any of his novels, and I need to get to those. I've read two of his short stories, I think. Kind of a short story guy over here. You know that.
I love 2666 because it's kind of right across the border from Tucson, the Sonoran Desert area that I've been to a few times. So I had the setting in my head. Then the violence is off the chain. Woo.
Well, yeah, there's that one section in the book that just makes people's eyes spin because it is just.
Yeah. That book is up there with Book of Night Women by Marlon James is the most violent I've ever read. It beats Blood Meridian.
That was going to be my question: is how's it ranked to Blood Meridian? Because I always hear people mention that is like their most violent book.
I think Blood Meridian is technically more violent. I mean, there's more death scenes in 2666 because
right,
not a huge
but they don't go into details about them. I remember all that list of all the women.
What happens is at that part of Mexico, they had an epidemic of women being murdered. And there are hundreds of them.
They weren't doing anything about it.
And he goes through and I don't know how much of it is fictionalized or lightly fictionalized, but he just goes through, this was this woman, this is how she was murdered, this is what done to her, and on and on. I mean, it gets repetitive. But when I think about that book is a lot of these women were what you would call on the fringes of society, like prostitutes or drug users. And so I guess there's a lot of people like, well, who cares if a drug addicted prostitute gets murdered? But he's going through and saying, like, maybe you should pay more attention because, yeah, she's a drug addict and a prostitute, but she's still a woman and she still did not deserve to be murdered like this. And like, pay attention because there's a lot of them and no one's doing it. Now, I repeat, only because it's so amazing. Spotify or RTE has a dramatic reading, separate series of discussions about Ulysses. Love it. Yeah, I don't belong to Spotify. MJ,
I don't belong to Spotify either.
I miss Jason Harrigan.
Yeah, I talked to him like last month or so, but and he's really busy, but he still wants to do the eco-a-thon or whatnot. And then I'm kind of waiting for a box from him too.
Garth Brooks, very cool. And the Thunder Rolls. That's a great song.
Well, I wanted to know what Una was talking about. What was it? Borges about tapping your foot to the rhythm of it. You know,
Kane.
Baldwin is like that. Who was it?
It was Kane by Gene Toomer.
Oh, Gene Toomer. Yeah, Baldwin is like that for me.
Sure.
Bad. That's a classic groovy prophet. It's beautiful. Hey, Dusty Book Sniffers. Hello, Dusty. You've been here for a while and I haven't said hello. Totally my fault. We get talking, we get behind on comments and try to get caught up, and we don't. So it's
I just subscribed to her channel. She's in England or Ireland.
Here's Bad as rad. Spanking is so rad. Maybe she should do that. The
tag.
Spank me tag instead of Bandy. If Bandy
Spanking at the moldy.
Old and moldy. Who needs a spanking? And
we need a hot chip one. What's an author that's too spicy to handle? So now we got 3 questions for the tag. We're gonna have this tag finished by the end of the stream.
Henry Miller. Henry Miller.
You don't have to answer it. You have to create the tag and let people
it's the question, Alan. We're not
question
doing the tag right now.
Who's too hot to handle? Now, wait a second. If you could run off to a foreign country with an author, who would you run off with? I can't really say that because I'm married, but you know.
Okay. Oh, so we're including like the Clarice Lispector answer in there?
You know, why not? That tag could go way off the rails. Yeah, this tag could go way off the rails. It'd be very popular too. Better spank.
That's how you know it's good content. When it's pushing the buttons of acceptability, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, Al, there is a key for Ulysses. It's called Ulysses Annotated. I've seen it. Don't own it.
John Gifford.
If I reread Ulysses, it's probably not going to be this year. Probably next year. I'll definitely pick up a copy of that.
I was hoping that Penguin was going to release a Centennial edition because they did a Centennial edition of Dubliners. That's just beautiful. It's got a great cover. They put some additional art and forwards in there. I thought they would have done a Ulysses Centennial, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's what that Zoom thing was about last year. I was on when I met Catherine Flynn. She's real personable, really cool. And that edition of Ulysses looks really interesting. I really want it with like the maps from Gifford are right there. And
I'll you know what I could do is I can do like a quick little like short maybe and just show it off real quick so you can kind of see what it looks like on the inside.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's sitting on and that way you can also see just how big Bertha that thing is. Like that's going to cut off some circulation. You cannot sit down and binge that thing.
Yeah, Brandy goes, Holden just seemed like a spoiled rich kid who thought he deserved to get whatever he wanted and threw fits when he didn't.
Yeah. But I hear that a lot. Yeah. No, that's not a hot take at all. A lot of people that come to that book later, like when they're not in their teens or whatever, they have that same reaction.
Yeah, here's MJ complaining about the chipmunking time.
Oh, it will.
Well, you know, here's the thing is that I don't have time to watch all the videos anyway. I just can't do it. If I watch at a higher speed, I get some of it in.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. You know, I used to try to comment on everything that I watch, but I've given up on that. I just cannot do it. It's too stressful. What I do now is I let it play like when I'm driving in the car, or if I'm doing laundry, dishes. I just let YouTube play in the background, and like that's how I catch up on some things. And I don't stress about, you know, I got to show that I was here. I got to show support with a comment, and I just kind of let them play, kind of like when I can.
You know, I'm the same way. I always try to just an off remark, you know, really quick. But you know, sometimes, like you said, I'm doing like dishes, and I just can't.
I just gave up.
I comment so much that people answer my comment before I'm really done, because I always like edit. I comment before and then they answer me. I go, I'm not done yet.
Hold up, people.
That's me. I speak so fast. I tell people to listen slowly. I consider it because I do not talk down to my audience, where most think they are the elect. So I still love pleb.
So darn plebeians.
1.5. But my playlist is nuts. Brandy, took me a minute to figure out what chipmunking meant. I like that. Funny. Animals always, yeah, I always love doing videos of my animals. Usually they do pretty good, but sometimes for some reason they don't. I'm going like, why are you dissing my poor cat?
How many animals do you have, Greg?
I have 4 cats.
4 cats?
4 cats.
Okay.
Three show up pretty regularly. I have one 20 years old. She just hangs out on our couch and doesn't
She
do
just
much.
makes the best videos just sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, she's just like, I mean, she's 20 and she's got health problems and
Yeah. I had a cat that he lived to be probably 22. And when he was 16, he lost control of himself, like in terms of bowel movements and stuff. So he lived in diapers. I put diapers on that cat for 6 years, and he was healthy. Other than that, it just that's how he could survive in our house and not make a mess of things. That's just how we lived. And he'd come up to me every morning as soon as I came downstairs. He'd come right up to me to change his diaper, and then he'd go on his way. He was fine with it.
Hey, cats are a lot smarter than we give them credit for sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. He knew. He 100%.
I remember when you lost your cat, Una. Yeah, you
hard.
took some time off.
Yeah, it was hard. I tried to, some people, they read books for therapy, like to work through issues and stuff like that. I tried to read because, Japan is obsessed with cats. So I thought like, okay, I'm going to pick a Japanese book on a cat and that'll help me work through it. And I had to abandon that project like 8%, 10% into it. It's just not how I could work through that,
Yeah, I like my cats, but I don't really like cat books about cats too much. But
I've never tried one. I tried and I love Natsume Soseki.
Oh, I'm a cat?
Yeah.
I have not read it yet.
Have you read any Soseki?
No. Is this missing something here?
Oh yeah. Top 3 Japanese authors. He is incredible. Do you read much Japanese literature at all?
I read some, but not a huge amount.
Okay.
We did Endo. Alan and I did Endo last year. We did Silence. I did reread of Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea.
So Yukio Mishima? Yeah.
Yeah.
That Martin Scorsese version of Silence was really good too, the movie.
It was a great movie with Garfield and such. I would put like Yukio Mishima and some other of like authors over on like one side of the scale as being more Western, a little bit more aggressive and straightforward. Soseki really has the DNA, in my opinion, of Japanese literature. Okay. Him, Yasunari Kawabata, like those are names that you hear a lot when it comes to Japanese literature in terms of being emotional, in terms of a meandering plot, but still exploring themes, imagery. That's what Soseki's all about. And, he'd write a lot about the Meiji era, moving forward, as Japan's starting to industrialize and catch up with the rest of the world. It was confusing. It was hard for a lot of Japanese to figure out, how are we moving forward? How are we taking in art from Europe and such? And it's just a great exploration of the Japanese consciousness. And Soseki captures that better than any other writer in Japan, in my opinion.
Okay, is I Am a Cat a good place to start with him?
Start with Kokoro.
Kokoro?
Kokoro. That means heart in Japanese, like heart.
Yeah.
And it's literally, and I hate to recommend it because it's literally the #1 selling book of all time in Japan, according to this one list. So it seems kind of remiss just to say we'll recommend this because it's the best selling, but it really is probably the closest to giving you a feel for Soseki. I'm a Cat. You have to remember, I only made it 8-10% in, so I can't give you a fully informed decision on that. But it was funny. It was good. It's an earlier writing from him, but it doesn't have the power and meaning behind it that Kokoro did.
Okay.
All in my opinion, of course.
A couple. What's the guy with the K? You just mentioned him. You saw
the guy with the K?
Yeah. He wrote Snow Country.
Oh, Yasunari Kawabata.
Kawabata. Yeah, I have a couple of his books.
Yeah, they've got they're doing a new translation for him that's never a book that's never been translated to English coming out here later this year called The Rainbow.
Okay.
And it's only like 100 pages. It's kind of like a novella, but that's one that I have pre-ordered that I'm going to jump on as soon as that comes out here in this fall winter time frame.
Cool.
Okay, and comments. Back to comments.
Yeah, back to comments. We roast Scotch bonnets and blend Viola hot sauce. Follow for more
recipes.
I know I watch a channel and we talk food. We should do a bean booze challenge on live, you guys. That would be.
What's a bean booze challenge?
What's a bean booze? I don't know what a bean booze challenge.
You know what that is, Howard? We got that means we have 3 hosts that are bean boozled as to what that means.
Another pun. So we're going to talk about Faulkner
for us in the next live. Should we? What is bean boozle?
I feel bean boozled.
Explain, Dad.
Well, Alan, it sounds to me like we're gonna have to say Faulkner for part 2.
Yeah, let's thanks for the shout out. Of course, Bandy, you're amazing, great channel. Love you too, great creativity. I'm getting close. Alan, okay? Yeah, he's okay.
What a great community. What a great group of people here.
It is.
Well, they asked me if I'm okay.
Well, you walked away for a second for some reason.
Yeah,
we're my water.
We're still behind about 20 minutes on comments. I agree. Knives Out is closer to AC. Death in the Nile. There he is. Bless you, Alan. Alan is good. I like
worried about you.
But I'm also groovy. That's old fogies. You got this elbow cough. Just finished a book, Radical Wholeness. I found I like Stranger in a Strange Land. Good at first, but then it gets weird. Stranger in a Strange Land was weird. Wow, I don't know. My phone can do emoji. Yeah, bad. Your phone can do emojis. Dang, how did I do that emoji thing? All right. I actually did it on my phone.
Discovering the emojis.
You know something? Emojis can be funny. It was, I think, on Voxer, where someone was commenting and they did like a pink unicorn emoji out of nowhere. Where did that come from?
Sometimes you just got to leave it. You just got to let the emoji ride, even if you didn't mean it.
Yep. Just say, my cat did it. Looking forward to joining you with Ulysses. Just dive in. Hey, Tom. Hello.
Let's do it, Tom.
Sorry it's taken me 20 minutes to say hello, but a little behind on the comments.
We're getting too talkative over here.
I'm just getting repetitive that I have pre-recorded. Sorry, I'm late saying hello.
What are you drinking there, Una?
Huh?
What are you drinking there, Una?
Buffalo Trace.
I've heard of that on Joe Rogan. I heard that's really good whiskey.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's
Buffalo Trace.
It's a good value for $1 to flavor. And I've just been really into Irish whiskeys lately that I wanted to try something American while I'm here in Vegas. So I got myself a bottle of American whiskey.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
I think it's a bourbon. I think it's technically a bourbon.
Bourbon? Oh, wow. I prefer bourbon. Jim Beam is fine for me, or I used to drink that like water.
Yeah, Tom, the new Bloom's Sat book by Harry Belmares is a good intro. Is that talking about Ulysses?
See, if we weren't 20 minutes behind, we'd know what the conversation was.
You were. Bad as rad. Chandler Morrison spanked me all the way to the foreign place. Laugh. I'm married, but I shall be bad. The book collected. I'm getting to reread Catcher with what we know about a developing trauma and ACE survey. Maybe
that is a good idea. Al Ohm, sign me up to hear that talk.
Now, prudent childless behavior abounds, and it tends to be traumatic origin. I call it trauma-informed adoptions. Bad as rad. Make me feel dead inside. Chandler Morrison. Ha ha ha. Face the turquoise covering eyes. Dusty book sniffers. All good, Greg. I know you would say hi when you got to me. I agree. There is so much content. Speeding it up is the only way. I have to stop commenting too and just leave an emoji. You know, I feel guilty leaving just an emoji sometimes, but maybe if we just accept it, that if you give someone a thumbs up, it just says, I watched it, I liked it, here you go.
When I first started doing content creation, you'd have the questions of, did that person really watch? Because, you know, some people, like, you have those people that just watch the intro of the video and then bounce. Like, you know, they didn't watch the whole thing because they'll say something that you address later. And that's okay. Like, you shouldn't be offended by that. But when I first started, I was offended, probably coming from like a place of entitlement or something. It was unhealthy, right? And now I've gotten a little bit more mature and realized how busy we are. And I don't think that way about emojis anymore. Now I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, that helps. It helps.
Does. You know, realistically, some people's videos are like 45 minutes long, and it's really interesting content. But sometimes I just don't have
the time.
Don't have the time, which is a shame, you know. But that's the way it is.
I try to keep my book reviews under like 5 minutes.
So this is a good time for me to announce that I have an hour and 38-minute video coming out Thursday.
Oh, you do? Is it a vlog? Or?
Way too long. No, we did No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai, which is one of my favorite books. And it was originally just going to be a chat with Jack from Rambling Raconteur, but then it turned into a psychological dive into how a person reflects off society. And then we got a licensed mental health therapist to help us do a fictional diagnosis of the fictional character. So we have a section in there that's doing like a fictional therapist diagnosis of the main character too, in terms of like what they have going on. So it just ended up being this huge effort. But I love the book. I'm willing to put the time into it. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I'll watch it for sure. I know Jack. Yeah,
you can watch 5 minutes, and if you put an emoji, I won't get upset.
But here's Al. Master in the Margarita is the only cat book I can think of. Besides The Cat in the Hat, Pepe Le Pew. You know, I'm going to say, is Master Margarita is that really a cat? Or is it something that just resembles a cat? Or
I've had to boot that the last 2 years where I was planning to get to, because I want to read it like in the winter time. I like to read the Russians in the winter. Like I like to read Eastern books in that time. And every year I've had to kick that out. But this is going to be the year. This is the year I'm going to do Master Margarita. I promise myself I'm doing it.
It's a good one.
I've not read it either.
Bad as rad. Cats rule. They do.
Cats rule and dogs drool.
You know something? If you've seen Bad's video, she gets French kissed by her dog.
Yeah, Chewy.
Bad rule.
I saw her poetry reading, and she's done some reviews that I've watched, but I haven't seen the dog kissing yet.
I know. I had a dog. You know, he wasn't quite that bad, but he's like, I'll lick your face. Or he liked to lick my forehead. Just like
they're like, there's like a radius around a dog that anything in that radius gets licked. Like, it doesn't matter what you put there.
Brandy, I am a cat. I have yet to read it, however. I should do that soon.
There you go.
Oh, goodbye, MJ. I'm sure MJ's gone already, but goodbye. I have to jet. The gin happens early. Good night, all.
All right, yeah. She's a power lifter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she puts a lot.
Bad as rad. It's a mystery jelly booze challenge. It can be different kinds of disgusting flavor or something delicious.
Okay. Grab some whiskey.
Oh my God!
Well, should we talk about? Should we talk about Puffy in August?
We're almost at the end of comments. CodeX, I'm sorry I forgot your name. You're really quite funny and clever. I've never watched your channel. We should wait for him because he's talking to you. Brandy's talking to Una.
Is it flattering? Because I'm very susceptible to flattery.
It is flattering. CodeX, I'm sorry I forgot your name. You are really quite funny and clever. I've never watched your channel. I'll have to correct that.
Oh, that's very nice.
Sure.
I look forward to
And-
meeting you.
Jelly
Yeah, the
bean-
CodeX Cantina, you have a great playlist too. I think I have one of your playlists. I know I have your Faulkner stuff in my playlist and that cross-referenced. And I like to keep a good playlist. Now, Greg, you don't do a playlist.
Not often. So here's bad. Jelly beans made of different flavors. It can taste like vomit or apple. Okay.
Yeah.
Bandy, wait. You're in Vegas? That's her city. Bandy lives in Vegas.
Party.
He lives in Vegas.
I'm at we're this is the first official Vegas show for Greg's live stream. So this is our Vegas show live from the Bellagio over here.
Well, we should get Bandy on the show.
Unfortunately, I'm not there.
Come on
Yeah,
down.
Bandy,
we're live
if
at the
you want on the
Bellagio
show
right
as a guest,
now.
drop me a comment somewhere with email
What
or a
happened?
Voxer, and we'll get you on the show. Vegas, baby. She loves Vegas. Well, Heather from Heroes and Heroines. Hello, Heather.
H cubed.
Hi, Heather.
Al, 90 minutes plus into a live stream. People won't listen to long videos. You should have seen the one I did Friday, 3.5 hours with Mark, Sean, myself, and then Steve Jonahue jumped on, and it lasted 3.5 hours, and my laptop battery died.
Yeah, wow. I had to plug it in when I got to the hotel here. I don't know if this is like a thing. My buddy, he was just out here for a conference last week. He said in his entire hotel room at Circus, one outlet, just one outlet to plug stuff in. I've got no outlets by my bed. Like there's like a USB thing in the clock. Like it's hidden in the clock. Like, okay, that's fine. I had to come over here by like a lamp. Like the lamp has the 3-prong input, but there's no outlets anywhere else in this room.
I've been in a hotel like that too, and it's like, don't they understand this is the modern world?
It's
I can understand if the Circus is an old hotel. That's 50 years or older.
He said that they needed to redo it. Like even like the buttons on the elevator, he said, were pretty worn out.
Wow.
Wahaha, I taught my dog to kiss on command. Oh, I have a short story for you. It's called Master of the Hounds by Aldous Budrys. He was a science fiction author, 50s up to 70s or 80s. Master of the Hounds is a great short. It's a thriller about giving dogs a command to kiss.
Okay.
It was also made into a movie with Alan Alda called To Kill a Clown.
How did that happen?
You know,
how did kissing dog turn into killing clowns?
Read by Fred. That was fun. Always enjoyed and watch and participate. Have a great evening, folks. Goodbye, Fred. Bandy is great. Smile she should. Go, Bandy, go. And the Bellagio, very nice style. I will cheer you on, Bandy. Heather, my laptop died on a live too, like 5 hours in.
That's a good laptop. What laptop do you have that lasted 5.5 hours?
Mine don't.
Oh, thanks, Dad. She's going to make my Santa Fe Christmas style enchiladas.
With the red and the green chilies.
Yeah, she made my enchiladas. She did a good job, even though I didn't give her a lot of instructions.
Yeah.
She forgot the taco.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's okay. I'd like to try that recipe, Greg. That looks good.
I just unfroze one and had it for dinner tonight because my wife went out to play pickleball. I carried a Powerball everywhere when in finance, and even offices suck for outlets. Get one with high power USB. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's
a great movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I know. It's a great movie. I like the clown movie. Dad has to see. She likes clowns. So what's that one with Bobcat Goldthwait? Florence Henderson is in there. Shakes the clown.
Is that a
He
new
plays an
one
alcoholic clown.
with Florence?
Shakes
So it must be new.
Florence Henderson.
Oh, Penderson. Okay, no, different one.
Yeah, from Brady Bunch. She plays like a prostitute. It's a funny movie. Shakes the clown.
I was thinking of Florence Pughs. Do you know her?
No.
She's in like one of the new Marvel movies. She's been in a lot of movies recently, but my wife told me this interesting fact. She's got something going on with her trachea that when she does a lot of physical exercise, she can't breathe. It's not asthma, it's not anything like that. Something to do with her trach that when she gets physical, she just can't breathe. And she thought she was going to get fired from the Marvel movies because she's playing an action character. Well, what's interesting is she did such an amazing job. She's been cast in like 3 or 4 different like action movies now. She's always like running around in these movies, and it's like the worst role for her because of like her health problems. I don't know. I didn't read any of this. This all came from my wife, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
So, Bambi, I make Santa Fe Christmas tamales at Christmas time.
Oh man!
Nice.
We always talk about food on the show eventually.
Yeah.
Chromebooks, for what it's worth, power for 9 days with 1 charge, I guess. I winged it, but kept it out. Yours look pretty good. Joseph Francis Burton. Hello, Joseph. I will
Hey, Joseph.
Santa Fe enchiladas and raise you
a long time.
A kielbasa passo. I think that's Italian for some.
Looks Italian. Why not?
Why not?
For the next couple minutes till someone corrects us, it's Italian.
It's Italian. You know, maybe people should put out recipes on their book channels and just see what happens.
We do that. That's a tradition on our channel. It's every Christmas. Crypto does a new baking recipe. So last year he did, was it German Stollen? He learned how to do the candied fruits inside of a bread. This year we did Italian Christmas, so he baked Italian strufoli, which is like little honey puffed donuts with like caramel and sprinkles drizzled on them. They look so, and I got to edit this thing. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, I would like that. I like to cook.
Do you?
Yeah, a little bit. I like to burn. I'm crazy on the grill.
Yeah?
Yeah, I learned how to cook from my grandma and then the people when I lived in Georgia for a year or so. Yeah, they taught me how to cook fried chicken right.
When you lived in Arizona, where did you live in Arizona?
Well, all over, but I went to grad school there, so I lived in Tempe.
Tempe.
But
okay.
My family lives in Fountain Hills in Scottsdale area.
Yeah. I think I told you my parents live in Buckeye. It's like a newer.
Oh yeah, you did.
Newer west suburb or whatever, but they've got a farmer's market there, and there's a guy from Georgia there. And you can't order barbecue for him without hearing a 15-20 minute story. I mean, you're not getting out of there. You're not getting out of there with a southern story. He'll tell you about how good his barbecue is, and he's got these tales about how big corporations have offered him like $10,000, $100,000 to buy his barbecue like recipe or whatever. Whether that's true, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I'd pay a lot of money for that recipe because it is good. So Buckeye, Arizona, if you're ever in the area on a Saturday, farmer's market, there's a guy there.
I'll tell my dad that tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. My father's a huge foodie out there. Him and his girlfriend. My dad's 80 years old, got this girlfriend now who's like 10 years younger, keeps him really busy.
Yeah.
It's a platonic like friendship because they're both Christian. But they're both coming up here to visit this summer, and she used to live in Portland, so I'm not going to turn them on to anything. She's going to be turning me on to stuff.
Oh, yeah? Wait, she's coming to Portland, or you're going to Arizona?
No, they're coming to Portland.
Okay.
And I go to Arizona like in the wintertime. I'll go next winter.
Okay.
I kind of trade off.
So Heather says she had to plug in her Chromebook first. Unplugged to show out my window and forgot to plug it in. I have a Mac.
Well,
Okay.
let's get into this then a little bit.
Yeah, let's. I have like about 10 comments. Pazzoli, my favorite food of all time.
We're never going to be done with the comments.
No, Henry and the Henry is my other favorite movie. It's Spanish. Pazzoli is a soup made in Mexico.
We're switching. Okay, now it's Spanish. It's no longer Italian.
I do I kind of remember you do some recipes on your channel occasionally. Italian is a new Mexican as it gets.
New Mexican.
We need some of these recipes. And Alan, famous barbecue. Best food books, salt, fat, acid, heat. We are at the end of comments. Yay.
The salt, fat, acid, heat, and MSG.
Faulkner. So MJ's not here. MJ wants us to do a Faulkner Fridays.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We don't know quite what it is, but we're thinking do maybe once a month do a Faulkner short story.
Yeah.
And Greg's I don't really remember reading Dry September.
Yeah, you were talking about that in the last live stream, and Greg, off the top of your head, you're like, that came out in the 1930s. I was like, holy crap, how good is your memory, Greg? I couldn't believe you could just recall that on a dime like that.
I just recently read it, and the reason why I read it is it's the story set in a barber shop.
Yeah,
and they're
part of
talking
it.
About
part of it's
an African American man who said something inappropriate to a white woman.
Yeah.
And then they have to, of course, go out and you know what they do to the man.
Well, I got a pretty good idea.
And I said, well, that sounds a lot like the Emmett Till story.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked it up. Said Emmett Till was 1950 something. So when did Faulkner write it? I said, oh, he wrote it in the 30s. And I'm going okay, here's a fictional story that was reproduced in life 20 years later.
Yeah, prophetic.
That's a good example of that whole Anton's or Chekhov's gun. The theory that you don't put something into a story that doesn't belong there.
Right.
And even though you don't know what happened in the story, the fact that at the end he's cleaning his gun gives you a pretty good idea of what.
Do you remember the story?
Oh yeah. I love that story. That's an amazing story.
It is.
You've got
It's sort of what I'm thinking of. A short story a week, not a week, a month. I think
who's the character in that sticks up to be anti-racist, but he still shows signs of racism? Is it Hank?
I know the character. I don't remember his name. He's saying you got to give the guy a chance to tell his side of the story.
But he's
a good guy. He just could be all misunderstanding and. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear about the misunderstanding.
No, and when he's pushed, and they there's that old adonym of when a character gets pushed to their limits, that's when you see who they really are, and you see that's when he snaps, and that's when his racism comes out. You see how he's still a product of the South. I think that's the closest we see to Faulkner himself, almost writing. A lot of the Southern challenge of how do we fight what we are and how do we change who we are. That's a great story.
And I know who is it? Brian, Bookish, always said that Faulkner really is a racist.
Well, there's biographers that claim the same thing. So it's not there's some that say yes, some that say no. It's controversial.
I think it's like that character's. He knows it's wrong deep down. He writes about it that it's wrong, but he cannot break. He the character. He just cannot break out of the mold.
Yep.
He's a product of his place, and he cannot do it.
Yeah.
Faulkner thought he knew most of the white people did, and that character in Native Son too. The white people trying to do good for the blacks, and we want to help them, and we want to raise them up. And that might not be exactly the paradigm that the blacks had. Yeah. That might not be the best for them that they want. But Faulkner wanted to push that. And what's that other thing of it? Well, if the blacks rose up, he'd be the first one out in the street with a shotgun or something like that. You remember that?
That's our idea for Faulkner. I don't know. We should Alan. We need to get you a copy of the collected stories.
Yeah, I need to get that next month.
But Borges or Faulkner?
I'm gonna
Both.
go. I'll go be looking at used bookstores and see if I can find something, and maybe something will sneak in the mail towards your way if they have it on the shelves.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
Yeah,
like-
I have the collected stories, but it's in a box in Phoenix, and I'll be getting that box this summer. A few boxes of books. I'm gonna need some more bookshelves. Oh,
Brandy is time to get ready for work. Good night.
all right, Brandy. Thanks for stopping by. I'm surprised.
Yeah, Al Jung called it an old German saying that a group of guns will go off.
Ah,
Jung.
yeah.
That is red. That book Hog is one of those books, isn't it? I still need to finish it.
I think
I'm not
I
gonna
think
read
dry,
it.
I think Dry September might have been one of the first videos we put out on YouTube, I think. So about 4 years ago, that might have been one of the first stories that we covered, I think. And I think we were doing the same thing of doing like one Faulkner. I think we're doing one a month. And I think, looking back on 4 years later, there's a lot that I would change on some of those discussions or how I've taken in Faulkner and then kind of reevaluated views on him. But I've always loved Dry September. I don't regret too much of that one, but there's some earlier Faulkner talks that we had that kind of would love to redo, if you will.
Well, it's a
You can do that.
we can do it. Oh, wait a second. Bad is going that book Hog. You talk about the Delaney book. That is really a nasty book. Al, something about their original nature. I disagree with Jung and the adage. The Hog book has everything. A can of content. All right. He was a product of the South, and love for that. Take it of culture and lose the art.
Yeah, I just know what Ali said about it, and I have no interest in reading it.
It really. I read part of it. I understand why Delaney was writing it. Do you know the book we're talking about, Una?
No.
It's,
Oh, you don't?
you know the science fiction writer Samuel R. Delaney.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. He was a black gay man who wrote science fiction.
Okay.
And he's a product of the 60s. So he experienced double discrimination.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so he wrote a book as graphic and as mean and as vicious and as pornographic as you could get. And he kept trying to up it and up it and up it with the torture. And it's like the Marquis de Sade plus.
Okay. Is this a book you would recommend then?
I could not finish it, not because it was disturbing, because it just got repetitive and boring.
Okay.
It's the same thing. They break in and they attack a woman and torture her.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of get desensitized to it maybe as you kind of relive it.
And that's sort of maybe his point is like he wanted people desensitized to so much violence. So when you see a black gay man, you're going, well, okay, well, he's just a black gay man. That's not too bad,
Mm-hmm.
At least that's one theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know anything about it.
How do you spell the guy's name? Oh, she said, so the book. All right, hold on. I have it here. Hold it. Hog. You can't really see his name on the cover, but you can see it on the side. Samuel R. Delaney, Delany. He did write one of my favorite science fiction novels, Dahlgren. And he took a lot from Joyce because that book starts with the end of a sentence. Begins with the end of a sentence and ends with the first part of the sentence.
Yeah, it's kind of like Finnegan's Wake beginning.
Well, it's very much taking a cue from Finnegan's Wake. However, what's really curious is the beginning sentence fragment is just straight narrative. And the character finds a notebook. All right? And he's reading along. He doesn't know who the author of the notebook is. And it's filled, but the margins are not filled. So he starts writing in the margins his own story. So then at the end of the book, you get the notebook. And it's got this really weird format where you have some text here and then some text on the side, which is his margins that he's writing in. What?
There's a whole chapter in Finnegan's Wake like that.
Huh.
Okay.
It almost reminds me
John.
of almost comes full circle back to the Pale Fire discussion we were having earlier with Nabokov. I've heard even like the House of Leaves too, a little experimental with its.
Absolutely. The House of Leaves.
Yeah, I've got that written down. I'm going to get it.
Now,
Pale
the reason
Fire.
the House of Leaves defeated me is I was in a group read on Discord, and some people were saying, you've got to search out all the misspellings. Because if you get all the misspelled words, you're going to get a secret message.
That sounds awful. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Give me the Google of what the answer is.
So I can't, I'm not a very good speller. So if you write something that's misspelled, I'm likely just to skip over it.
Yeah. What was I reading? Oh, it was I was reading Liquor the other day, like Liquor, but they spelled it Licker in the story. Like liquor, like that. But they meant LIQ. Was that a thing? Did we used to spell it LIC and I never LICK and I never knew that?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so it was really weird for me. Now, if that's a thing, I don't know about it. But I kept reading liquor, and in my mind, I'm thinking the verb, like licking, and I have to be like, wait, no, this is a noun. This sentence doesn't make sense. I have to go back and read this again. And it kept like throwing me off, having to like replace the word when it's misspelled.
Some authors just misspell words.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've been told like some of our most famous authors were very bad spellers. Faulkner was a notoriously bad speller.
Faulkner.
Hemingway was a bad speller.
John Kennedy was president. Notorious bad speller.
Was supposedly the worst of them all. Misspelled everything. Jane Austen was supposed to be a bad speller too.
Who was the worst?
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen was the worst?
No. Fitzgerald was a really bad speller.
So all the drinkers from the Lost Generation are bad spellers. Got it. Who saw that coming?
They said that Fitzgerald could not spell Hemingway's name the same twice.
Probably used 2 M's. Only 1 M in Hemingway.
Oh, that one got me. Whew. Oh, that's an interesting generation of writers right there to read biographies on in terms of who was hitting on whose wife and who got along with who. That is just to be a fly on the wall on a Paris bar with that group in the room.
But it's really some of our most amazing writers came from that generation, and it was like there's something in the air that just hit the writers of that generation that just made them explode in this new direction. That's
in Paris, like The Movable Feast, Gertrude Stein, and that her salon, and
Dos Passos. Yeah. I've never read it, but I've been reading. It's like he was amazingly creative that way too.
So are we all going to be hosts again for Faulkner in August?
I want to be.
We'll see. I got to finish Ulysses. I got to get through that. I cannot do Ulysses and Absalom at the same time. It's not happening. So I got to get through Ulysses.
Oh, okay.
I got time. I'm starting it here. I got one more book to finish. Just recently, The Flowers of Buffoonery came out. It's never been translated into English. It's an Osamu Dazai story. It's only like 70 pages. So I'm going to finish that here over this, probably the plane ride back to my home in Indianapolis. And then I'm going to start Ulysses after that.
Cool.
Right. Sounds like a good plan.
Al, I find we learn more from authors that had lessons to learn. Young said we learn. Oh, we're about to get photobombed, I think.
Photobombed.
Photobombed.
How does one get photobombed?
I don't know. Oh, by his cat.
Hey, look at this guy.
This is Teddy.
Eddie. And then Pip is the three-legged cat,
Pip is my three-legged cat. He is.
also known as Lucky.
You gonna stay for a while, Teddy? You want to wander off again? Yeah, he wants to wander off again.
Teddy.
And I don't recommend it at all. Hog is absolutely just gross. Yeah, bad. I agree. It is gross. Desaad is similar. You learn the lesson, and those that linger have lessons to learn about themselves. Desaad, I need to check that out. If you didn't like Hog bad, you may not like Desaad. I do not recommend.
That is the reason we have sadism.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Samuel R. Delaney were issues 202 and 203 of Wonder Woman 19. Yeah, I forget. He did
really. That is interesting.
He was a very famous or very up and coming science fiction author for a long time.
Really?
And then he just sort of dropped off.
But a lot of times when you're writing comics, they expect you to be able to do storyboards too. I wonder, did Samuel R. Delaney also do storyboards?
I have no idea.
That would be an interesting pop quiz, because there are some duos where it's very rare, but there are some duos where the writer will actually just write prose and then leave it all up to the artist to figure out how to pencil and storyboard it. But I mean, like 95, 98% of the time, whoever's writing it also does the storyboards. Does
Alan Moore do storyboards?
I don't know much about Alan Moore, honestly.
He did like The Watchmen and
right. One thing, yeah. I know who he is. I've read his work. I don't know about his craft or how he did it.
I read his novel Jerusalem, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't read that, but Noah has been bragging all about Alan Moore's prose, and I've never read any of it. I've only read his comic work.
Yeah, me too.
Jerusalem is one of those amazing novels.
Yeah. Okay. So now I got two people telling me it's amazing.
It's huge. It's over 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
There are sections that are written in an invented language. It is the person who invents the language is related to James Joyce.
Wow.
Is it James Joyce's daughter, I think? Did he have a daughter named Alice?
Lucia.
It could be his sister or his daughter, but she invents this. I think it's his daughter.
Probably because she was a schizophrenic.
What?
She was a schizophrenic who
probably
Young tried to help her.
And then there is
she had a
written as a drama and a section as an epic poem.
That sounds intense.
And now
Adam Savage writes about Jerusalem.
You think that's intense? A big bulk of the story. Well, it starts off with a young boy who's like 8 years old or 6 years old who chokes, and they rush him to the hospital, and he's technically dead for like 6 minutes. And they clear the passageway, and he's back to life. And then he goes up through an adulthood. He's working his manual job, and he gets knocked out again. Well, it turns out when he was 6, he visited an afterlife. And the part of the book is this his experience as a 6-year-old living this afterlife. And he gets flown over this city by the devil. And it's just a very, very bizarre book. I'm always fascinated by those near-death experience stories.
I read like a research article the other day where like the gamma waves in the brain, which are specifically for like recall. So like when you're recalling memories, that there's a higher activity of gamma waves in your brain. Well, right when you die, there is this research. They're measuring like seizures on a guy, like unrelated, like brain monitoring. He just so happened to also pass away as they were monitoring him. And they saw the gamma waves immediately flip up right as he was about to pass, which is the first time they found scientific evidence that said we could, like the gamma waves could be acting up, and you could have, you know, like how they talk about full life recall right before the moment that you die, that there's the evidence, like the waves there implies that it could possibly be happening right before you die. And that's always just been fascinating to me, of just like, you know, you hear stories about the moment before you die, you have total life recall. You remember all the things that you did in life, the things you regret, the things that you loved. And to think that that could be like a thing, like a scientific thing that we go through, that's mind-blowing to me. Like, what's the evolutionary purpose of that is what I've always wondered.
Well, the thing is, the brain, as I understand it, doesn't really forget much. It just gets like overloaded or something. It's like every day you learn more stuff, and it just is put like a stack of index cards that it gets piled up, and you got to flip through that, because we've all had this. Like, I remember knowing something, and then you keep wondering what it, and all of a sudden 3 hours later it just pops into your brain, because your brain's got this command: go sift through the index cards, and you're flipping through it and trying to find it. And oh, here's Groovy Pop Tart. Have you seen the movie Quills? It's about Desaad. My best friends loved it, but I was not. I've heard of it.
Nope.
It had Jeffrey Rush from Shine as one of the main characters. I don't remember which character he played. Al Joyce Wood. It sounds like both. Al.
He's a liker. That's the person that goes around on YouTube videos and clicks likes.
Bad. Oh wow, that's very intriguing.
Sadism
like and Desaad. You didn't know that bad that sadism was based for Desaad? Yeah. Liquor is the sweetest. Oh, there goes Caitlin. I gotta make dinner. Got some chicken. Alberto cooking. Good night, guys. Fun chat. Good night.
Yeah, Caitlin, Bandy, thanks.
I'm sure you're going by now.
Channel.
Oui.
By Bandy. Okay. We laugh, but the modern understanding of a learning disability is tied to their traumas as a lost generation. The more we know, LOL.
The more we know, NBC.
Letres. The 100 Days of Solemn Desaad. That is one of his books. He also has a book called Justine. I have 100 Days of Solemn. Is it from? Yes, that is definitely from Desaad. Bad. Heather's cute, and she must be talking about Teddy.
Yeah. Teddy.
Hi, Teddy.
We're back in the Teddy. That was so long ago.
That wasn't too long ago. What was the book translated? I know someone was translating a new version of A Skeleton Key to Zarathustra.
Are we back on
that?
There is a recent translation of Zarathustra. I don't know if it's a few years, a couple months, but
yeah, I always read Walter Kaufman's. Kaufman's a big Nietzsche editor.
I've got the Penguin edition. I don't know. I can't remember who was it. I mean, my books are back in Indianapolis, obviously, but whoever did the Penguin translation.
Yeah, right now I just have the ebook version, public domain, which is probably not the best translation.
Well, I bet it's Kaufman. I bet it's
Courtney from Tangible Reads. Hey.
There's Courtney. Hey, Courtney.
What?
Let's get Courtney on the show.
Hi, Ratty. What's going on? All right.
Yeah, you just missed MJ, Courtney.
Do you know what's being talked about? I'm back from being happy hour and ready to read. I could
I
not
don't
be
know.
reading after happy hour.
Oh, I could.
I'm stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
He's sandwiched between two handsome young lads over here.
What happened?
What happened?
Heather, sometimes I remember dreams, and the thing is, they are real memories because my dreams are full color and vivid, so it's hard to tell after a few years.
Oh, yeah, I'm really into dreaming. Talk about Carl Jung. I mean, all about his archetypes.
Okay, that answers the question. Hi, Heather. Hey, Courtney.
I love dreaming. Lucid dreaming.
My husband, I was
astral projection.
praying to whisper and crying. My husband freaked out. I was having a bad dream of 3 black figures. Ghost above me. My husband freaked out. I looked possessed.
Whew.
You must be talking about a dream. I have read the newer translations. He must be talking about Nietzsche. I still prefer the R.J. Hollingdale.
Which one do I have? I'm going to look it up. I'm kind of curious now.
See what has happened. Yeah, okay. We're at the end of the comments again. We're good?
For now.
For now.
Give it about 5-10 minutes. We'll be about 5-10 minutes behind again.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're down to 8. We're down to 8 viewers, so not as many comments coming in as Fast and Furious.
Spoke Zarathustra.
You know what you're going to get to eat tonight, Una?
No,
what are you in the mood for?
You guys were talking about all that pasta. I'm kind of thinking pasta now, but it's open. I don't have anything in the plans.
I would get a prime rib dinner if I was in Vegas tonight.
Why doesn't this doesn't even list the translator in the opening section of the book? I've got the Dolphin Classics Illustrated Edition, but it doesn't list who the translation is from.
Could it be an anonymous translation if it's that old?
I don't know. We should ask Al because he seems to be very knowledgeable when it comes to Nietzsche. I don't know. That's one that I told Crypto that I was going to make it. So Crypto's never read philosophy before, and I thought I don't know. You guys give me your opinions. I thought Nietzsche would be a pretty good introduction, a place to start for him. Obviously, not going to start on a Heidegger, Kant, or something like that.
Heidegger
I can't read those.
Is almost impenetrable.
Yeah. So I thought Nietzsche would make sense as a good starting point. I mean, if you're not going to start from the beginning, because I know obviously you don't want to read the ones that are like a response to Plato and Socrates and such, but
I like Descartes. I like Descartes a lot.
Albert Camus is pretty easy.
Yeah, because he's got kind of like stories, like narratives, you know, like it's easy to pick up. That's true.
All right, if he likes like Buddhism, Hesse's Siddhartha.
I don't think he knows much about Buddhism.
Yeah, it's a story of the Buddha, so go Tama.
Zarathustra and Beyond Good and Evil.
BG&E.
Yeah.
They kind of go together. I have not read Nietzsche in like before I was married, so.
Yeah.
I read him when I was like in my 20s, and since I've been doing so much Dostoevsky lately, it's kind of forced me to refresh on a lot of Nietzsche here lately. Those two are kind of like, they're opposites, but they're kind of like PB&J, if that makes sense. Like I feel like one was born out of the other in a sense. So I don't know.
Courtney's getting 50-cent wings. Not
can't complain about that.
Oh, killer. Man, I would like some wings by now.
Like Thomas Common. 50% Miller beer, good times. Bad. That was a lot of fun, guys. Nice to meet you, friend. And I'll check out your content. Thanks again. Great show. Great topics.
Thanks, Jess.
Oh, Heather saying, I've been lucid dreaming before I was 8. I talked about it in my 2nd grade science fair. I was taught myself to do it because I had recurring nightmares. I
Me
don't know
too.
what it was called
I have
before.
sleep apnea, so that's how I'm like lucid dreaming all the time. I wake up and I can fly, control my dreams. Talk
How do you
about
do
like
it? How do you do that?
Voorhees. I have I call it astral projection. I go into this big library all the time, and I'm looking for 770 for the. They still have like call numbers on them. That's my like recurring dream. I have a lot of recurring dreams.
Well, how does one teach yourself lucid dreaming? Like, how do you?
I don't know how you teach it. I've heard comments like that, but
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, like I'm kind of curious.
Sure,
Like, how do
yeah.
you do that?
Okay, if you can, you know, when you're dreaming, and if you ever get the idea, I think I'm dreaming, you know, or if you catch yourself flying in a dream, you're already half there. And then, like, you might hit a book brush and then you come right back down. You ever have those dreams
Yeah,
where you fall?
yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lucid dream. If you can tell yourself, I'm dreaming, I can fly. Or if you can ever look at your hands and go, wow, I'm dreaming. I can walk through walls. I can go, fly through this window. I don't even need a window anymore. I just go, I'm dreaming. I'm out through the flying around.
Hmm.
A lot of books on it too.
Yeah, I imagine. I always, my wife always looks up a lot of. She's interested in that. She's very interested in like spiritual. She believes in ghosts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so she always has like some really interesting things to kind of share with me on that. We were watching a show called like Evil the other day, and they talked about the need to have like a like something around the wrist because once you were dreaming, you wouldn't have that around your wrist, and that would be a way to know. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but she had some interesting fact of like, oh, well, actually, that's called a da 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 da, and that is like a real way to know if you're dreaming or not. Like, I don't know. There's always like so many interesting things when it comes to how the human mind makes us experience the world.
yes.
Another trick is if you're dreaming, try to find a book or like say when I'm dreaming, you know, I'm reading a book before I go to bed. So I've had this experience where I get up and go back to my book and I'm reading it. I'll look away and I'll go back and it's different text. That's how I know I'm lucid dreaming. Because it's never when I go back,
Russell,
different
for
text.
philosophers.
Yeah, I always like. Was it Russell? He was the one that had the. If you walk through a city, you'll know the city, as opposed to you can show someone like 1,000 pictures of the city, and they'll have no experience compared to someone that spent 30 minutes walking through the streets of the city. Like that one has always stuck in my mind. That's been a very true statement.
I like his essay on Christianity or why I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, I'm not a Christian.
Yeah.
Oh, badass. Hold up. Who is on your show next? We've got Aaron Facer coming up next week.
Wales. It will be a 10 a.m. show for America.
Yep. And then Flo. And then Carrie. Micah Cummins. And then I'm on a cruise ship that week on the 24th. So there will be no show.
Yeah, like a whole month planned ahead.
Oh yeah,
Alan
we're in the May.
This is a tightly run ship over here. And
Alan, he's the guy that gets showed the people in.
I just showed up. I didn't even know.
You know who Greg wants to get?
Who?
St. Donahue.
Oh, the big guy, huh?
Yeah. But he's going to have to say, well, we're booked till it have to be after May 12th or something. Yeah. He might not like that.
Might not.
Good old Steve.
Translator of Zera, Thomas Common.
So Thomas Common was the. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I'll have to pull that book out. It has to say it in the back or something. Like somewhere there ought to be.
If it's public domain, they don't have to say it.
It's true, but I would think they would still.
I had a reoccurring night. Al Young called that active imagination. Nightmare, but it's been a few years and maybe I'm over it.
You had a recurring nightmare, huh?
Oh,
I
bad.
always go back to my grandmother's house.
He doesn't dream on the machine. Lucid dreaming is another thing. Dream yoga in Tibet.
Oh, yeah. Tibetan Buddhism, they say Zen is like black and white, and Tibetan is in full color. Meditation wise.
Films popped in. Hello.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, Crybaby Films?
Yeah. Oh, it relates to Sanskrit.
Bardo.
Practice to see the bardo of between the space between awake and sleep is where
That's what when Una was talking about those gamma rays. I was thinking Bardo. That might be the first stage of the Bardos.
Mm-hmm. Heather goes, most people can't lucid dream because they don't realize they're in a dream. I would just start the dream and my brain would finish it. But I could rewind, go a different route so it's not scary.
Oh, right, it is very scary. And when you start astral projecting, you run into these entities that are evil and want to mess with you. And you have to go
dude,
get away.
I've got like children's versions of dreams. Like my wife has people chasing her, scaring her, stuff like that. My dreams are like I was on a bike made out of marshmallows. I ran out of Cheez-Its, so I had to go to the store. I was thirsty. I needed some milk. I've got like the world's most boring dream.
I don't have interesting dreams, at least not anymore. Maybe when I was younger.
They're random is what my dreams. They're not interesting. They're just random. Like I can't even explain it.
Drinking from the chocolate milk river and
yeah. No, like that is what I have seriously trippy dreams. They're never scary. I'm never in a threat. It's just really weird experiential, like almost like I'm taking drugs type of experience, but I'm not taking drugs. It's just that's the experience I have when I'm dreaming. It's weird.
Wow, cool.
You know, when I lived in Washington, we lived in an area where you could hear the train. There's a train track not too far away. And the rule is when a train goes through a road crossing, they have to blow their whistle. That's just the law.
Yeah.
And one day we had this guy coming. He was trying to get a petition to sign to change the law so the train won't blow the whistle. You know, people try to get you to sign. I didn't sign it because I said, well, maybe the train really should just blow the whistle when they're going past a road.
Yeah, so, they really should. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what happened during the day. So I was taking a nap on the bed, and the cat was sleeping next to me. And I started dreaming, and in my dream, I heard the train, and for whatever reason, I thought the train was going to run through the bedroom. So I woke up, grabbed my cat, and rolled off the bed because said, I don't want my cat to be. And my cat was just so mad at me. But I say, look, Ellis, it means that I really don't want you harmed.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. You must have been freaking out.
I had one of those cats that would sleep 20 of the 24 hours in a day. And the other 4 hours, he would just sit on your lap. It was the most unathletic cat you had ever met in your life. Just would not move. Just a really lazy cat. And I lived in this apartment complex, and the fire alarm went off. And I was like, I'm not prepared for this. I have a cat carrier, but I've never rehearsed this. So he hates this cat carrier because he thinks he thinks he's going to get shot. And then fire alarm's going off. He's freaking out. I get out the cat carrier. He sees the cat carrier, and he transformed from the world's laziest, lethargic, Garfield-like cat into a world-class athlete. And I'm chasing this cat around the apartment for 15 minutes trying to get into the darn cat. I'm trying to save your life here, cat. And he just wouldn't get in the dang cage. I eventually got him. But it was just like a nightmare, trying to catch this thing. But I can't imagine.
It's crazy when falling asleep. Sometimes twitch and wake up, and they say it's because when we die for a split minute, our body is preventing it or something. Medium John Silver, I heard that to gain lucid dreaming, one must ask oneself throughout the day, am I dreaming now? Al, the new practice is weird. It tends to forget the goal, to be mindful always. Heather, I can read in my dreams, LOL, like made up stuff. I hate that I can't remember it all and turn it into a book for real. Some dreams I have, but not when I read in a dream. Excuse me. Al, we tend to forget our dreams. It's like a muscle. You can learn to remember even when you program your dreams.
And when you write your dreams down or use your phone, like that recorder, and then you'll start remembering your dreams more.
Heather, I can also wake myself up during the realm of if the dream gives me a message. It's incredibly hard, but if I don't, I won't remember. Al, Tibetan
if you
yoga.
can train yourself to wake up and sit there for a moment instead of wake up and, whoa, okay, got to get coffee, got to do that. Then you'll remember it too.
Okay, good night, you guys. See you in the next show.
All right, Jess.
We're down to 5 viewers. Do you want to continue on a bit, or do you want to call it a night?
We're over 2 hours. Wow, 2.5.
I got to get some dinner in me, so I need to get some dinner.
Yeah.
Then I think we should go. I mean, I always try to keep it like an hour and a half, and it always goes over.
We were we were chatty Cathy's tonight. I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to all the guests in the chat room for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
I hope.
And thanks to Una.
A good night, and thank you, Una, for showing up.
Real pleasure.
Weird conversations with us. I know.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Alan,
got all kinds of notes.
How much of your syllabus did we get to?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Remember you had a syllabus for us.
I would have liked to talk more about Japan and more about Faulkner, but I don't.
We basically didn't talk about Japan or Faulkner at all.
We talked.
I'm excited you're going back to Dublin.
Faulkner.
I'm excited you're going back to Dublin, Una.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make some content. Did you guys follow Brian's content as he was doing like the daily shorts with
most of them? Yeah,
they were cool.
I saw some of them, yeah,
they were real cool.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. Because I said, Brian, you really surprised me. Because like me, if I was going to Ireland or Scotland, I'd be telling everybody, "Oh, I'm going to," But Brian's smooth. He's smooth. He's
very smooth. He's a smooth operator.
Okay, so I'm going to call it a show. Thank you, everyone, and that's the end. Goodbye.
Bye.